Chapter 61: The Tragic Results and the Mastermind Behind the Scenes. The dazzling white light forms Rai Jinchuriki column, causing more deaths on the battlefield as Kakuzu flees. Top of that, Kakuzu's entry into the middle of the desert has to pass through the defensive area where the Konoha ninjas are. At this moment, the 9 big snakes that Orochimaru had summoned earlier had all been beheaded, without the slightest protection. Kakashi's face paled as he looked up at a lightning strike. Beside him are his companions who do not know whether to live or die, and Hyuga Chizong who has fought back to back with him until now. Hyuga Kionzong lowered his hands, he was unable to fight anymore. Chakra has long been exhausted, and he was barely protecting himself by relying on the physical skills of the Hyuga family. And this high-level Raiden Thunder-style ninjutsu, even in his intact state, is difficult to resist, and now, it seems that he can only wait. It's just a pity that the original was not protected well. Captain doesn't know if he survived. He should be more difficult than us. I remember there were 5 Jonin, and I found him. Hyuga Kionzong sighed, the battlefield was too scattered, and he didn't see Gong Yi's final battle. Kakashi, who was stunned beside him, Hyuga Chimso smiled wryly. Ogawara hated Kakashi the most in the past, but now Kakashi is going to die with everyone. It's ironic. Kakashi didn't think so much, his mind was blank, only the knife clenched in his hand did not loosen at all. A stern yet loving face flashed across his mind, and Kakashi shuddered. No, I can't. I haven't found the answer yet. Kakashi held the dagger, pointed towards the sky, and slashed with the sword. The same dazzling white light appeared in his hand, and then covered the short knife handed down from the Hitaki clan. In the ninja world, there are countless large and small families, each family is based on various secret techniques, and then developed and grown to the present. The Hitaki family is very thin, and since the past dynasties, there are almost only a few people. But it is such a family. In the dignified Dainin village, Konoha, they are not afraid of anyone. Apart from the Uchiha, Senju, and Hyuga clans, the Hitaki clan is the strongest. Even during World War II, Hitaki sculpture, known as Konoha White Fang, was born, surpassing Sannin. What they rely on is the knife in their hands. Hitaki swordsmanship can kill all enemies. Kakashi upholds this belief, and his hand also bursts with thunder and lightning, and madly swings his knife to the thunderlight. Click! A loud voice sounded, and Kakuzu rushed past. His gaze, inadvertently, stayed on the boy who was half kneeling on the ground. What kind of ninjutsu is that? It can cut off the thunder and lightning I let out. ... The yellow sand gradually extinguished, and the strong wind stopped. Orochimaru in yellow cedar stood on the mountain with a gloomy smile on the corner of his mouth. Him were Gong Yi, who was bleeding all over, and Namikaze Minato, who was exhausted and tired. Yamashita, dozens of Konoha ninjas came to support. They are sweeping the battlefield, counting casualties, and identifying enemy ninjas. Sand. With a soft sound, a ninja in a dark coat was half kneeling in front of Orochimaru, with bugs flying in and out from time to time on his face. Lord Orochimaru, I am Aburame. Casualties of our ninjas have been counted. Anbu Jonin is dead, only Kakashi and Hyuga Kionzong are alive in Chunin. All genin, all dead. Well, I see, Orochimaru said, calmly, as if not surprised at all. Namikaze Minato suddenly appeared, and he was furious at Orochimaru's attitude that he didn't care about the death of his village. Lord Orochimaru, don't you care about our dead comrade? Orochimaru glanced at him, does that make sense? Why does it make no sense? They are fighting with us, a village ninja. Orochimaru said lightly, weakness is the real reason for their death. Remembering them can only add to the sorrow. And it's their mission, and no mission is safe. When leaving the village, every ninja should be mentally prepared to devote himself to the mission. Namikaze Minato was stunned, not knowing how to respond. Because what Orochimaru says is the truth, the truth. Missions always come with risks. Gong Yi, who was resting and recovering, lowered his face and clenched his hands slightly. All genins are killed. My own teammate, Ogawara. Among us, Gong Yi was the youngest, yet he survived. He also beheaded 5 jonins, several chunin and genin, and even seriously injured Kakuzu for me. This is the difference between him and those who died. Only by being strong can you master your own destiny. Quote. Orochimaru said lightly. In his tone, there was a lot of appreciation for Gong Yi. Gong Yi grinned and said nothing. Aburame, who reported the situation, took a small look and glanced at Gong Yi with admiration. Gong Yi was rumored in the village. He didn't take it seriously, he just thought he was just a genius who didn't grow up. Compared with their family ninja from a big family, it is far worse. But Lord Orochimaru said the same thing. Gong Yi's record was there again, and his heart was filled with admiration. Tell me about the enemy. Orochimaru's voice came from his ear. Aburame quickly replied. 68 genin were killed by the enemy. 12 were killed by jonin. The others fled in all directions, but there were no bodies. Also, there was no body of Kurosuke Rai Kiba at the scene. Kazi Minato explained. Kurosuke Rai Kiba should have seen something wrong and ran away. I ignored him at the time. Aburame exclaimed. Minato, you've done a good job. It's not your fault that you ran away 1 or 2 enemies. Minato sighed at Aburame's compliment, feeling that he wasn't doing enough. Orochimaru didn't mind the disrespect of Namikaze Minato to him before, and he also praised him. This battle, Konoha except Orochimaru, the remaining 3 jonin, all suffered a frantic siege. Anbu jonin was beheaded. On Gong Yi's side, there were also a full 5 jonin besieging them. Namikaze Minato faced more enemies, headed by Kurosuke Rai Kiba, and 7 jonin surrounded him. Even so, Namikaze Minato was not afraid, and with the help of Hiraishin's advanced ninjutsu, he continued to turn around in the battlefield. Sometimes he attacked and killed the enemy, sometimes he helped his teammates, and even Gong Yi took care of him once. But after all, there are too many enemies, and he can't take care of them. Even when Kakuzu escaped in the end, he was unable to save Kakashi, so he could only let Kakashi protect himself. Aburame hesitated for a while, and said I found information. When I was cleaning the battlefield, I found that among the dead ninjas, there were missing nin wanted by various villages, and ninjas specializing in bounty missions. However, some of them came from several large ninja villages. Godaji, Raiden Thunder Style Ninja from Kumogakure Village. Satsumo Cloud, Raiden Thunder Style Ninja, from Kumogakure Village. Juntaro Oiwa, Doden Earth Style Ninja from Iwagakure Village. Orochimaru smiled grimly. Sure enough, this was a premeditated siege. Kumogakure, Iwagakure, Kurigakure Village, missing nin, bounty hunters. I want to come to the Sunagakure village I just visited, and get involved too. Aburame asked slightly puzzled. Is there Sunagakure's body present? Orochimaru waved his hand. Our route back to the village, in addition to the fact that Sunagakure can follow secretly, can we also detect it with a group of rabble? Chapter 62 Tsunade, 2nd. This battle, with no head and no tail, Konoha ninja seems to have suffered a disaster. But in fact, through the clues, it is completely possible to find the truth of the matter from the fog. Gong Yi thought to himself while listening to Orochimaru's inference. The battle just now, among the people who fought against him, there were 2 ninjas who were good at Raiden Thunder Style. The villages in the ninja world, except for Kumogakure Village, there are not so many Raiden Thunder Style ninjas. Gong Yi would never believe it if Kumogakure Village had not participated in this matter. Kurosuke Rai Kiba is one of the 7 people of the ninja swordsman, a person from the Kurigakure ninja village in the country of water. At this time, he did not defect. Coupled with the attitude of a few Suiten, water-style, ninjas in Kurigakure village in the battlefield, a Madara can also be seen. And Iwagakure village is here. Gong Yi looked at the densely packed corpses at the foot of the mountain. This desert is very suitable for Doton, Earth-style, ninjas to fight. Coupled with what Orochimaru said about Sunagakure's secret revelation, Gong Yi quickly clarified the forces involved. Obviously, the major shinobi villages do not want to see Konoha develop smoothly. But due to Konoha's strength, they didn't dare to fight directly, so they secretly did something. Such as sabotaging the peace talks between Konoha and Sunagakure. As for Sunagakure, Yi's eyes narrowed slightly. Kage's injury made them dare not resist Konoha's pursuit of peace, but they were not reconciled to being subordinate to Konoha. If you unite with other shinobi villages, kill Orochimaru on the way back to Orochimaru. Then for Konoha, it will be a huge blow. Konoha White Fang is dead, Tsunade is living in seclusion in Konoha Hospital, Jiraiya has no responsibility, and basically there is only Orochimaru as a card-face ninja in the village. Third generation of Hokage did indeed cultivate Orochimaru as the fourth generation of Hokage. If Konoha's future Hokage can be killed, other shinobi villages can have more time to develop. Moreover, in this matter, Sunagakure village did not come forward, and Konoha could not point the finger at them. So far, the context of the matter has gradually become clear. Orochimaru waved, and Aburame stepped back slightly. Let's go back to the village and talk about it. Minato, how are you recovering? Kazi Minato moved his shoulders, hands and feet. It's alright, although chakra has been used 7 to 88 just now, it's barely recovered now. Orochimaru nodded and looked at Gong Yi, who was covered in blood. Forcibly open the 6th gate of the 8 inner gates. Gong Yi, you don't seem to be in a good state. Orochimaru is the most studied for various advanced ninjutsu, secret techniques, and forbidden techniques in the village. Third generation of Hokage is not hidden. After all, Orochimaru is his favorite disciple, and it is more likely to become the 4th generation of Hokage in the future. The so-called sealed book, Orochimaru can view it at any time. From the back, Orochimaru uses various secret arts of Konoha, and even impure world reincarnation is mastered by it, so you can see a Madara. He also knows a thing or two about the 8 inner gates. If it wasn't for his reluctance to take the extremely damaging path, the 8 inner gates, he could have learned it too. Gong Yi smiled wryly, it's really not good. Using the only chakra left to seal up the wounds everywhere to avoid excessive bleeding. But even so, if I don't go back to the village to seek medical ninjas for treatment, I'm afraid my body will be damaged. Crashed. Gong Yi has healing, which can quickly heal wounds after battle. But he is useless. Don't expose this kind of thing in front of others in the end, otherwise it's easy to cause trouble. Anyway, the team is over now, and the ninja team that Konoha rescued has also arrived. As long as he insists on returning to the village and being treated in the hospital for a period of time, he can fool around. Orochimaru nodded knowingly, as he had guessed, Gong Yi was in some danger. That's why he doesn't go down the path of the 8 inner gates. What Orochimaru wanted was a perfect body, a body that could live forever, allowing him to study the mysteries of ninjutsu to his heart's content. Inner gates, too dangerous. Don't worry, I'll let you carry you back to the village later, you should rest first. I'll go down to see those ninjas who are still injured and still alive, maybe I can get some information from torture. The road back to the village was not a fast one. Namely, there were many seriously injured people in the team. Namikaze Minato recovered relatively quickly, but Gong Yi's injury made it very troublesome. Forcibly opening the 6th gate, the meridians were injured, and the major acupuncture points in the body were all occupied by the irritable chakra, making him unable to mobilize his body for recovery. Some pores were even blocked when the blood hit. Among the ninjas who came to support, there were no excellent medical ninjas. So we can only carry Gong Yi back for treatment. In addition to Gong Yi, Kakashi and Hyuga Kionzong, the two Jonins who survived, were also covered in bruises. Especially Kakashi. When Kakuzu escaped, he unleashed a wide range of high-level Raiden, Thunder-style ninjutsu, and killed the few remaining Genins in Konoha. Although Kakashi made a breakthrough and fused the Hataki sword technique with Raiden, Thunder-style, he cut off a thunderbolt released by Kakuzu, but he was also attacked and seriously injured. Occasionally, Orochimaru's eyes would fall on everyone with a gloomy expression, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Originally, it only took a few days to travel with all his strength, but in the slow journey to avoid aggravating the injury, it took a full 10 days. Gong Yi's injuries were repeated. Fortunately, there were several medical ninjas who maintained him and did not deteriorate. After returning to the village, all the ninjas dispersed without saying much. Gong Yi, Kakashi and the others were all sent to Konoha Hospital. Have you cleaned it? No problem, there is no exposed blood on his body. It's good. We can't treat Captain Gong Yi's injury, so we can only hire that one. This feeling is really uncomfortable. Gong Yi squinted slightly, lying on the bed, it was difficult to even turn over. He was accustomed to using recovery techniques and healing techniques to quickly repair injuries, and he hadn't felt this kind of weak state for a long time. Fortunately, he was seriously injured, and it was easier for the higher-ups in the village to recognize him more. After all, this injury was for the sake of the village. The door of the ward was pushed open with a squeak. Gong Yi turned his head to look with difficulty, the corners of his mouth twitched. It would be Tsunade to heal himself. P.S. First of all, thank you for your 300 VIP points and 100 VIP points for Skydust. Secondly, let me mention something. This book, which has far more than 120,000 words, will be on the shelves after 12 o'clock, that is, in the early morning. In the end, although it will be on the shelves later, today's 5 watch is still there. There are 3 chapters left, the 6 or 7,000 words. I can put it in the chapter that will be put on the shelves tomorrow, as an outbreak, but I don't think it is necessary. There are a few more free chapters, so that everyone can make a decision slowly, whether it is worth paying a few cents a day to subscribe to my book. Of course, I definitely hope that everyone will actively subscribe and support me. Alright, that's it. It is estimated that after the 5 chapters are over, there will be a simple testimonial on the shelves, and everyone can just take a look at it when the time comes. Chapter 63 Hyperphobia, Third More. Tsunade, the most superb medical ninja in the ninja world. With super medical ninjutsu and taijutsu, and Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and called Sannin. This is an excellent woman who inherits the glory of the first generation of Hokage and the will of the third generation of Hokage. She once wanted to implement the medical ninja system in Konoha. Just that all the thoughts disappeared after the death of his brother Nawaki and his lover Kato Dan. He even suffered from hyperphobia that ninjas should not have. This is why, after Gong Yi was sent to Konoha Hospital, he was not treated directly, but had his whole body cleaned of blood. Tsunade can't see that. The door was pushed open, and the woman in the green coat stood quietly in front of Gong Yi. Under the golden hair, there is a slightly blurred vision. Is this the person the 3-generation-old man wants me to treat? Gong Yi smiled reluctantly, as if tugging at the injury on his body. Princess Tsunade, drinking in the hospital is not a good behavior. Tsunade was stunned. Little brat, it's none of your business if I drink. Gong Yi said with a wry smile, I'll rely on you to treat my injuries. Afraid you'll be drinking and you won't be able to control your chakra. Tsunade pouted, you underestimate my medical ninjutsu too. Without much words, Tsunade went straight to healing Gong Yi. In the original book, little Li Chunin took the test, forced to open the 5th door, and was seriously injured after that, and was originally judged to be a cripple. But after being healed by Tsunade, he is still alive and well, and he can even stop Kagaya Kimimaro. Tsunade has a unique experience in coping with physical injuries caused by taijutsu. In fact, just think about it, Tsunade is the best at taijutsu, and she is bound to suffer a lot of injuries during the training process. She understands the harm caused to taijutsu better than anyone else. With his hands on his stomach, Gongyi only felt warm all over. A stream of chakra flowed into the body, guiding the chakras that were running around in various acupoints, and some of the traumatic injuries suffered during the battle were slowly recovered. Gongyi couldn't help but say, "It's comfortable." Treatment progressed, Gongyi's injuries gradually improved. Then came the final step, removing the congestion from the body. Puff! With a light sound, under the guidance of chakra, the blocked pores were also opened. One after another, the blood in the body shot out like a water arrow. Gongyi was trembling all over. At this point, his injury was basically no serious problem. When all the blood was gone, Gongyi twisted his body contentedly, but when he saw Tsunade with his head bowed and trembling beside him, he pursed his lips. Hyperphobia. For ninjas, bleeding is commonplace, even during normal training. Can suffer from this disease. What does it mean? It means that you have invincible strength, and you dare not fight against others. That Tsunade, known as one of Sanin, can only be trapped in the hospital, and even the usual seriously ill patients, she can't take action. This time Tsunade's shot was also specially commissioned by the third generation of Hokage. Gongyi showed great talent and great strength. Generation of ninjas in the village who were only slightly weaker than Namikaze Minato. Even in front of White Fang's son Kakashi. It's impossible for the three generations to let Gongyi become a cripple, so Tsunade came to rescue Gongyi. It's just that at the end of the treatment, Gongyi's pores all over his body spurted out of congestion, and Tsunade couldn't take it anymore. Gongyi thought for a while, then hesitantly reached out and stroked Tsunade's blonde hair lightly. One stroke, one stroke. It seems to be comfort, and it seems to be a lover's caress. 10 minutes for Tsunade to calm down. Gongyi retracted his hand at the right time and said with a smile, "Princess Tsunade, I'll just say it. You're saving someone, it's best not to drink alcohol. You see, you've used so much chakra, your body can't take it anymore." Tsunade glanced angrily at Gongyi, turned and left. "Drop a word before you leave. Let's just lie down and cultivate for a while, it'll be fine." When she got to the door, she paused. "Use the 8 inner gates less in the future, it is too harmful to the body." Tsunade left the ward and came to the hospital corridor, leaning back against the wall, and stopped suddenly. Her heart still hasn't calmed down. The fear of blood is a feeling that many people cannot understand. In the blood, she will recall her powerlessness at the beginning, and recall the miserable death of Nawaki and Duan. Touching his hair, Tsunade seemed to be able to feel the warmth of Gongyi's hands when he touched them just now. She laughed and scolded, "What a daring kid. Heart, she is grateful to Gongyi. Just made a fool of herself, but Gongyi used the excuse of drinking to cover up the past for her." Da da da. The sound of clogs stepping on the floor came, and Sandai looked at Tsunade in surprise. "Is it over?" Tsunade picked up his mood. "No problem, after training for a while, that little guy can be alive and well." Having said this, Tsunade frowned and looked at Sandai dissatisfied. "Teacher, is it necessary to give the forbidden technique of the 8 inner gates to a child so young?" Tsunade was well aware of the bodily harm the 8 inner gates had done to her body, and she was very dissatisfied with the decision of the third generation. Third generation was noncommittal, but said lightly, "Gongyi's talent is very high, but there is no suitable teacher for him in the village, and I have no time to teach him. It is irresponsible for the village to waste a talent like this." Toby Hiruzen remembered what Gong Yi said back then. The 8 inner gates is not only a path for Gong Yi to become stronger, but it is also very likely to be the last barrier to the village in times of crisis. Thinking of this, his guilt was much less. He glanced at Tsunade. Jiraiya brought Minato. Orochimaru needs to handle all kinds of diplomatic affairs in the village for me. You hide all day long and wanted you to teach Gong Yi before. You disagreed. This time I saw it. What do you think? With you watching over the teaching, with your medical ninjutsu, he is much safer practicing the 8 inner gates. Tsunade pursed his lips, lowered his head, seemed to remember something, and waved his hand away. I don't teach that daring brat. Chapter 64. Only by studying medicine can save the Konoha people. Boom. 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 I come in. Gong Yi's heart moved. Please come in. The 3rd generation walked in with a smile, and first cared about Gong Yi's body kindly. Then mentioned the relevant rewards of the task, and the rest time of Gong Yi next. The mission this time was tragic, and even the famous missing nin in the underground black market like Kakuzu was involved. Gong Yi was also seriously injured, so he could recover for a long, long time. After these cutscenes, the 3rd generation finally informed Gong Yi of one thing. 3 days later, the village will hold a funeral for the ninjas who died in the mission. As a comrade in arms and the captain of Ogawara, if you can attend, please come as much as possible. 3 generations are gone, and only Gong Yi is left in the ward. Ogawara. He muttered to himself, as if he could recall the days when Ogawara was with him. In terms of daily interaction, Ogawara is not likable. Many times, he rejects Gong Yi, a new member. But from the bottom of my heart, this young man is very concerned about his companions. It's like when Gong Yi performed the mission for the first time, and he didn't return for a long time. Although Ogawara said that Gong Yi was a rookie, he actually cared about his safety. It was such a Tsunade talking, kind-hearted person who died on the mission at a young age. Even Gong Yi didn't even notice how he died. The battlefield was too chaotic at the time. Each Konoha ninja, there are multiple enemies. Even Namikaze Minato can't do everything to keep everyone safe. A sigh, Gong Yi lay on the bed. At this moment, he only felt that life was so weak. But soon, he cheered up again. Only by being strong can you master your own destiny. When the fight came to an end, he was running out of chakras and the 8 inner gates couldn't keep up. Kakuzu only needed to be hard-hearted at the time, and it was difficult for him to survive. Gong Yi is very smart, saving the last bit of chakra, pretending to have spare power, not afraid of Kakuzu, so that Kakuzu let go of his mind. However, in this case, Gong Yi just wants to never show up again in the future. 3 days later, a crowd gathered at Konoha's cemetery. The funeral was hosted by 3 generations of Hokage, and Orochimaru, who was the mission leader of the mission Sunagakure village, also appeared. Most of the others are family members of the dead ninjas. Generally, when ninjas die in battle, there is no need to hold such a large-scale funeral, and it is impossible for Hokage to preside over it in person. Mainly died too much in one go this time. 1 Anbu Jonin, 3 Anbu low-level ninjas, Namikaze Minato team died 2, Gung team also died 1. The village needs to give the relevant family members a decent funeral. Gong Yi was in a wheelchair and was pushed by Hyuga Kionzong to the cemetery with a heavy expression on his face. Captain, your body. It's okay, just rest for a while. Yeah, Hyuga Kionzong nodded with a sad expression. Yuan, he didn't protect him well. Gong Yi patted Hyuga Kionzong's hand. It's the best thing you can survive, it's just a pity that I didn't hear Yuan's last words. He just went away so silently, human life is still too fragile after all. Quote. Oh, Gong Yi, do you also think human life is too fragile? While the two were talking, Orochimaru silently stood aside. Looking at the dark and depressing atmosphere in the cemetery, there are occasional cries. Gong Yi glanced at Orochimaru. At this time, Orochimaru should have already been on the research of reincarnation. For the sake of longevity and endless time, he understands the fragility of life better than anyone else. Yes, human life is too fragile. In a few decades, the person lying here will be me, you will be someone else. Gong Yi said lightly. Orochimaru was noncommittal. I don't want to lie here and be mourned. Nobody wants to, and neither do I. Orochimaru chuckled. Maybe you and I will have a common pursuit. Gong Yi's expression froze. He and Orochimaru, in a sense, are indeed the same person. Self-centered, the interests of the village are not placed at the highest level. After the funeral, Gong Yi went back to the ward to lie down. Occasionally a carer would push him out in the sun, and occasionally someone would visit him. While in the hospital, Gong Yi heard a lot of people talking about him, about the last mission. Nin, Kakuzu who fought against the first generation. Kurosuke Rai Kiba, one of the 7 Kurigaku ninja swordsmen. And Go Freely on the battlefield, the invincible Namikaze Minato. Gong Yi, who killed 5 Jonin with the power of one person. Even the surviving Kakashi was discussed. Discuss his breakthrough, self-created ninjutsu. For Gong Yi, this is a good thing, which means that he is gradually being accepted and worshipped by the villagers and ninjas of the village. As long as it goes on subtly, his status in the village will also get higher and higher. Senior management will pay more and more attention to their own attitude. To Gong Yi's surprise, the leader of this mission, Orochimaru, was secretly criticized by many villagers. In this battle, 8 village ninjas died. A small blow to his personal prestige. Gong Yi listened to the information, thoughtful. A month later, Gong Yi's body was almost recovered, and it was time for him to be discharged from the hospital. But instead of being discharged, he went to the top floor of Konoha Hospital and found Tsunade. Hey, your body is recovering well. Gong Yi smiled warmly. Thank you for your treatment. Tsunade leaned back on his chair, sipping his drink every sip. Gong Yi with blurry eyes, he pursed his lips. Then you should be discharged from the hospital. Why did you come to me? Gong Yi took a deep breath and said solemnly, I want to follow you and learn medical ninjutsu. Tsunade was stunned for a moment, subconsciously thinking that there was no time. But thinking of the words of the 3-generation-old man of the teacher, the words came to his lips, and he swallowed them back, but asked a question. These are all for the pursuit of strength. Why do you study such useless things as medical ninjutsu? Gong Yi said with incomparable sincerity, only by studying medicine can I save my companions. Chapter 65 Kekkei Genkei. 5th More. Study medicine can't save people. Tsunade murmured. Some heart-wrenching memories came to her mind leisurely. Gong Yi said to himself, the first time I performed a mission, my captain broke a hand. At that time, I was thinking, if I can medical ninjutsu, maybe I can connect an arm for him, instead of becoming an incompetent wretch. The last time I went to Sunagaku village, I killed 8 ninjas, including my closest teammates. If I knew how to heal ninjutsu, he wouldn't be buried in that ruthless desert. I am still young, and I will contribute more to the village and perform more tasks. These missions, how many teammates do I have to lose? How many times do I have to watch my fellow villagers in the village? How many times do I cry because of the injury? I don't want to see this again. I don't want to. After saying these words, Gong Yi naturally shed 2 lines of tears. Tsunade stared blankly at Gong Yi, his heart that was once frozen suddenly touched. She remembered the hand that Gong Yi stroked on her head, it was so warm. How wonderful it would be if he could also use that hand to bring warmth to the ninjas in other villages. The teacher said that Gong Yi is practicing the 8 inner gates, and this set of martial arts is too harmful to the body. He is such a small child. If he can use medical ninjutsu, it may relieve his pain. Tsunade thought to himself that since he couldn't be his teacher and he couldn't treat the villagers' injuries, he might as well teach Gongyi what he had learned. The village, after all, still needs a powerful medical ninja. Tsunade calmed down and said simply, "You will come to me in 2 days." Gongyi was overjoyed, but still asked suspiciously, "Why 2 days later?" Tsunade glared at Gongyi. 2 days later, you only 2 days later." Oh. Gongyi left, not only from Tsunade's room, but also from Konoha Hospital. Tsunade stood by the window, brushing his hair. "How can I teach people in this state? In 2 days, I will also prepare relevant medical ninjutsu books, and let him learn from theory first." Standing at the hospital gate, Gongyi wiped away the tears from the corners of his eyes and his expression became calm. Times, he also knows a little about acting. Facing the curious and respectful eyes of the villagers, and breathing the fresh air outside the hospital, Gongyi returned to his new home. From the perspective of modern people, Gongyi's new home is worth tens of millions. The huge courtyard is covered with blue and white floor tiles, and the surrounding walls are filled with blooming flowers. Across the front yard is the main hall. The large wooden house and the courtyard are integrated into one, and the large and small rooms are enough to accommodate a dozen people. In the backyard, a swimming pool and a training ground were opened separately. The surrounding is a quiet forest, the air is excellent. Gongyi took a brief look and nodded. This money is worth the money, it's much better than the small shabby house before. I'll buy some furniture in 2 days. Days to come. Tisk tisk. Gongyi, who returned home, did not follow the instructions of the nurse at the hospital for self-cultivation. Instead, he came to a specially opened secret room. Gongyi solemnly took out a scroll and hand-sealed it with both hands. Not. Chakra flashed, and a mask with a weird smile appeared on the table. Unfortunately, only one of Kakuzu's hearts was sealed with the scroll. It would be great if the other 2 hearts killed by Orochimaru could be recovered. The mask on the table is the Kaiden fire-style mask monster that Kakuzu killed by Gongyi at the time. It's not so much a mask, it's a heart of Kakuzu. Kakuzu, Master Taki Ninja Forbidden Technique, Ground Resentment. Resentment of the earth, black tentacles can be born from the body, and the corresponding attack ability and the ability to capture the heart can be obtained. In addition, it can use various types of ninjutsu. Even. It can fuse chakras of different natures and release combined ninjutsu. According to Gongyi's knowledge, the fusion of chakras of different natures is very likely to give birth to a new escape technique. And this new escape technique, the ninja named it Kekkei Genkai. The power of Kekkei Genkai runs through the entire Hokage plot. As Sharingan, Byakugan, Shikatsumyaku, Dead Bone Pulse, Yoden, Lava Style, these things are actually Kekkei Genkai. Of course, Sharingan and Byakugan, which are more advanced, are not limited to the fusion of chakra properties, but a certain organ of the ninja body has the ability to be different from ordinary people, and has genetic characteristics. Since seeing the battle between Kazekage and Shukaku of the 3rd generation, Gongyi has realized how powerful the energy of a level higher than ordinary chakra is. He craved this ability. He can master this ability and use it to the fullest, then Gongyi will no longer be afraid of the brutal 3 battles or the future 4 battles that will destroy the world. Isn't the power of Kazekage derived from Jiden magnet style? Jiden magnet style is also a kind of Kekkei Genkai, which is composed of the chakra of the wind attribute and the chakra of the earth attribute. The ability of the tailed beast, Gongyi has not had much idea for now. After all, this kind of existence is used as a strategic weapon by the major villages. With his current strength, it is difficult to access. So, Gongyi set his mind on Kekkei Genkai. Throughout the entire ninja world, the grievances mastered by Kakuzu are the most likely to give birth to Kekkei Genkai. Just that Kakuzu has gone astray, only relying on the immortality brought to him by the 5 hearts, but he does not think about going to the next level. Kakuzu's slain heart, because Gong Yi's seal scroll was sealed in time, was not completely dead, and still had a little bit of activity. And in this activity, it retains the characteristics of earth resentment. A heart, maybe give me some inspiration for the birth of Kekkei Genkai from fusion chakra. This alone is not enough. In Gong Yi's eyes, there is a deep light. Kekkei Genkai has a lot to do with the physique of human beings themselves. The road I'm going to take requires a lot of human samples, especially ninja human samples with chakra. Following Tsunade to learn medical ninjutsu, you can justifiably touch the ninja's body. As long as you are careful, you will not be caught. Found. Gong Yi took a deep breath and looked forward to the medical ninjutsu study in 2 days. Ding. Host launches new research topic, Kekkei Genkai. Word. 1000 academic points, a low-level academic skill. Hearing the familiar system voice, Gong Yi's mouth curled slightly. It's great to have upgraded the rank of scholar system, and there is one more research topic. Chapter 66 The new ability brought by spiritual power. Chapter 67 The work that Konoha has been doing. Chapter 68 The dishes are real, the third more. Chapter 69 Release ninjutsu without hand seal. Chapter 70 The limit of the ninja. Open black lens bracket 5th more close black lens bracket. Back in the backyard, Gong Yi took off his clothes and entered the clear swimming pool. Lying in the pool, Gong Yi still closed his eyes. That guy, as expected, is still there. Are you spying on me? Ninja's surveillance was discovered 2 months ago when his mental power exceeded 60 points. After breaking through 50 points of mental power, Gong Yi gained a small ability, and he was able to remember the contents of the book quickly. After breaking through 60 points of mental power, Gong Yi found that if there was a stranger's breath within a radius of 100 meters, he could quickly detect it. Although compared to Byakugan's pervert's ability to see at least 500 meters in a radius, and more than a few thousand meters, it is still far worse. But the 100-meter range is pretty good. Moreover, this ability is also effective for ninjas with hidden aura and stature. After realizing Anbu Ninja's surveillance, Gong Yi made corresponding changes to his training plan. Happened that during that time, he was obsessed with the study of non-hand seal ninjutsu, and this thing, for healing art, was not so frequent. Just fine as a cover-up. Now entered the sight of various big people inside and outside the village, and the title of the Dark Blue Devil is gradually spreading in the ninja world. Doing things, you can't be as casual as before, there are too many people paying attention to me. But in the end, my strength is still not strong enough. If I have Tsunade's previous record, who would dare to monitor my territory? Gong Yi snorted coldly, ignoring the hidden Anbu ninjas for the time being. In a sense, they passed back the information that they were getting stronger and stronger, and Hokage's attention to him would also get higher and higher. Even if a war occurs, it is basically impossible for him to become an abandoned child. In this way, it is a good thing. Eyes, Gong Yi observed his fingers. After a while, he nodded in satisfaction. Since he succeeded in Master Rasengan's ninja practice, he has been very fond of Rasengan who doesn't need a hand seal. No wonder Naruto's set of balls has been rubbed all over the world. Who wants to go to hand seal to practice ninjutsu slowly? After tasting the benefits of not having hand seal, Gong Yi was a little impatient with other ninjutsu that required hand seal before. It is impossible to say without these ninjutsu. The battle situation is changing rapidly and the situation is complicated. The more ninjutsu, the richer the enemy tactics can be supported, and Rasengan can't solve everything. Kun Canc Naruto 4. Rasengan, there are all kinds of bizarre tactical collocations, can't you give up, then you can only strengthen the ninjutsu that requires hand seal. How to strengthen and go in the direction of not being hand seal. If not. Gong Yi's idea is very simple, but it directly captures the essence of the problem. Hand seal, it means that the ninjutsu release speed is extremely fast. Under this premise, if someone prepares to release a ninjutsu in 2 seconds, you can instantly release a level ninjutsu, and then hit the enemy first. At this time, there is no difference between the level and the level, because the enemy is dead. The world of martial arts, only fast is not broken. I am faster than you, you have to die first. But that's what I said, but in the Hokage world, there are very few ninjutsus that do not use hand seal. There are not many ninjas who don't use the hand seal. Even Naruto releases multiple shadow clones and needs the hand seal. Although later comics, animation, Hokage world, most ninjas don't show the hand seal gesture, but in fact, it's not that they are all strong, but the author is lazy. Draw a hammer hand seal yo, just roar and let it go. Writing a few words is much simpler than drawing a large hand seal gesture. Gong Yi didn't want to go to the sky in one step. After the in-depth hand seal gesture, he had a related idea. Hand seal is to promote the flow of chakra for quick release. Note that it is promotion, and this step is not necessary. If the chakra control ability is very strong, the sequence of hand seal can be completely omitted. Gong Yi thought of some people who will appear in the future, and some can quickly release tolerance, the person who does not need to slow down and hand seal. One-handed hand seal, White, Uchiha Itachi, and Namikaze Minato who broke his hand later, Sasuke who broke his hand. These people can do one-handed hand seal, and the release speed of ninjutsu is very fast. People are all characters with extremely strong chakra control ability. Stronger, there is even Jiraiya, who can hand seal with her feet, which is simply incredible. And all this proves that as long as the chakra control is strong enough, it is possible to simplify the hand seal gesture, or one-handed hand seal, or even hand-free hand seal. What is the advantage of Gong Yi? From the beginning, he is the earliest and strongest advantage, is the chakra control ability. After understanding this, Gong Yi started the preliminary experiment. The first is to pick out a few commonly used ninjutsu with good power and simplify them to the hand seal gesture. This step took him 2 months, and he succeeded. The simplified hand seal gesture was gradually transitioned to one-handed hand seal. This step took him 3 months. The hard work involved is self-evident. Occasionally Tsunade came to look for him, and when he saw this scene, he was scared to tell him not to mess around. Even used medical ninjutsu on several occasions to treat his backlash injuries after the ninjutsu failed. And this last step is to summarize the one-handed hand seal into a super-fast simplified one-handed hand seal. It took me a month, but in the end I still succeeded in 2 levels of ninjutsu. Doden Earth Style, Sharp Gun. Kaden Fire Style, Majestic Destroyer Flame, Great Fire Annihilation. Gong Yi sighed, not regretful, even somewhat satisfied. That tiger-faced Anbu ninja saw was the result of his previous experiments. It doesn't get to the point of being super fast, but it has been done to simplify the one-handed hand seal. Seems that there is no hand seal. In fact, it is just that Gong Yi simplified it to only need to bring the 2 fingers together in the eclipse to promote the flow of chakra, and then release it. Of course, the speed is very slow right now. But Gong Yi believes that as long as you give yourself some more time, you can keep getting used to it. After you get used to it, you will definitely be able to do it super fast. At that time, the 2-level ninjutsu will be released at an extremely fast speed, and its effect should not be lower than normal ninjutsu, and even have a chance to surpass the so-called first-level ninjutsu. Compete. Knight. You said he made it. Looking at the 3 generations of Hokage who have always been calm and unmoving, they are all surprised, and Anbu with a tiger face can't help but sigh. Sure enough, even Lord Hokage would be amazed that Gong Yi is indeed a genius. Tiger-faced Anbu said respectfully. Yes, in 6 months. I watched him go from hand seal with both hands to quick hand seal. And then to the one-handed hand seal. And today, without the hand seal, he used a powerful ninjutsu. 3 generations of Hokage still don't believe it, and even the so-called Dr. Ninjutsu himself has not done anything. That little guy Gongyi actually did it. It's not that the 3 generations couldn't do it, but the road that the 3 generations took was obviously different from Gongyi. He took a broad and strong route, mastered many powerful ninjutsu, and released their combination. Gongyi is obviously taking the master's ninjutsu, which he is constantly strengthening. 3 generations settled down and said, "Tell me more about his cultivation situation at that time." Faced Anbu immediately talked about the situation at that time, and the 3rd generation listened, and his face gradually changed, calmed down. As you said, there was a long silence before he released his ninjutsu. So obviously, he is using a strong chakra control ability to mobilize chakra. And powerful ninjutsu requires a lot of chakra, and this process causes him to spend a long time. Ah, Lord Hokage, you mean? Sandai heaved a sigh of relief and smiled slightly. It's very simple, he doesn't apply. When fighting, the enemy has no time to wait for him to prepare. In fact, the effect is not as good as the normal hand seal. Tiger-faced Anbu hesitated. Then if he keeps using it, getting used to it, and then increasing the speed, we all know that the release speed of ninjutsu is related to the level of proficiency. Sandai shook his head and took a puff of cigarettes. How can it be so easy? Everything has a limit. Although a spring can be compressed, it can't be compressed to nothing when it is compressed to the limit. After all, there is a thickness there. The release time of ninjutsu is also the same. Although you can make it faster through proficiency, it is still impossible to achieve instant release. Unless his chakra control ability is accurate enough to control every chakra. Tiger-faced Anbu suddenly realized and looked at the 3 generations in admiration. Called Doctor of Ninjutsu. He has a lot of knowledge and can see the essence at a glance. Tiger-faced Anbu is about to retire, but he hesitates before leaving. Lord Hokage, when I was following him, I somehow got a feeling of being discovered. This. Brows of the 3 generations gradually wrinkled, and on the forehead, dense Sichuan character Sichuan wrinkles were formed. Chapter 71. The most perfect artwork. Today, the ninjutsu I will teach you first is healing art. Hearing Tsunade's words, Gongyi was stunned for a moment. Healing. His intermediate level scholar skills, isn't it also called healing? But then, he reacted immediately. This healing technique is not healing, Gongyi's upgraded healing, but an intermediate level scholar skill, with extremely comprehensive effects. It can quickly recover physical fatigue damage, mental overdraft, and chakra deficit. Also a 100% healing effect for internal injuries and traumas of the body. However, the common healing techniques in medical ninjutsu are very poor, but they simply stimulate the activity of cells to speed up recovery. For minor injuries in trauma, it has a good effect, but the speed is very slow. For internal injuries, it's even more useless. In the late stage of Hokage, few medical ninjas use healing art, at least it started with sage art. Gongyi is a bit painful, although it doesn't matter, but the same name can affect the experience too much. LLC after I go back and see if I can change the system to 3220 inches. The healing spell has been renamed to avoid confusion in the future. Bang! Teacher, why are you hitting me? Call me sister, don't call me teacher. Oh, teacher. Tsunade glared at Gongyi. He didn't understand why Gongyi never called his sister, but insisted on calling him teacher. Occasionally Tsunade would also think about this not a problem, and finally came to a conclusion. Gongyi, probably, maybe, really wants a teacher. A teacher who takes him as a disciple and teaches him all kinds of ninjutsu knowledge seriously. Tsunade sighed, not thinking about these things, and she didn't have that much effort to teach the disciples carefully and patiently. His hand, he rubbed Gong Yi's forehead on Yuhi's forehead just now. His own strange power is not something that ordinary people can bear. Thanks to Gong Yi's training in the 8 inner gates, he is strong, and he usually fights with him, so he doesn't have to worry too much. Gong Yi's forehead, Tsunade said angrily, don't look down on healing art, even though it's only the lowest level of medical ninjutsu. But every medical ninja entry must learn it. This is the foundation of the basics, and it is also a must for all advanced medical ninjutsu. Gong Yi pouted. He wanted to say that he did not despise healing. But when the words came to the mouth, it became a sentence. Oh. Let me teach you how to mobilize chakra with healing techniques, so that it can mobilize the cell activity in the wound. Very simple demo, Tsunade finished quickly. Very simple to learn, Gong Yi finished it by the way. Tsunade was stunned. Gong Yi scratched his head. Learned before. No. Teacher, you said that you have to master all the basics before you can learn. I just learned from you. Tsunade let out a sigh of relief, then hugged Gong Yi happily, tucked his head with one hand, and said happily, you kid, you are so talented in medical ninjutsu. Come with me sooner. What a great study. Che, when I asked you to teach me, you were reluctant. Gong Yi murmured, but enjoyed Tsunade's grip on his head. Deliberately tilting his face, and clinging to the big and soft Fu dagger peak, Gong Yi only felt refreshed. I didn't think that before, but now I realize that people with fire are generally precocious and their bodies grow quickly. I am still a few months away from being 10 years old, and now I have a reaction. Ade marveled at Gong Yi's skill in medical ninjutsu, then thought of something, and quickly let go. Gong Yi. Come on, show me a ninjutsu. Gong Yi blinked. Okay, I'll show you a good ninjutsu. With one hand standing in front of him, and 2 fingers together while eating, Gong Yi suddenly closed his smile and became silent and solemn. Only a head shorter than him in height, in fact, it is already tall and straight. Handsome face, fair skin, solemn expression, really graceful like a fairy. Tsunade's eyes widened, staring intently. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds 3. What are you doing? Let you release ninjutsu for me, not let you be handsome. Tsunade couldn't help but want to reach out and smack this guy's head again. He knows how to be handsome and do things all day long. However, when she was about to reach out, a 2-meter-long spear slowly emerged in the void, straight, sharp, with a faint aura of piercing through everything. Ade covered his mouth. Unbelievable. Watch this scene. Ninjutsu. What does this represent? For Tsunade, this represents the terrifying chakra control ability. And for medical ninjas, what is the most important chakra control ability? The spear suddenly disappeared. Gong Yi smiled. Watch Tsunade. Teacher, how's it going? My ninjutsu is okay. Tsunade hurriedly concealed his absent-minded performance just now, and said dismissively, Che, stinky brat, you have died a dozen times for using ninjutsu like this on the battlefield. Gong Yi pouted, showing disapproval. Actually, of course he knew it. After all, this ninjutsu master is not long yet. Of course, if he uses Rasengan, he can also show super chakra control ability. But when it comes to shock, it's the Doden Earth-style sharp gun that wants to be promoted first. It's better, and it can hide its ability a little bit. At least from Tsunade's previous expression, he knew that his performance was a success. After thinking about it, Tsunade should teach her medical ninjutsu. Tsunade waved his coat. Little guy, come with me. Why? Let's go to the hospital emergency room for an internship. Ah, I'm the master. Shouldn't I try to find a little mouse first? HMPH, my disciple, how can the little mouse be qualified for you to heal? Hey, teacher, After today's homework is over, can you lend me some books? The Land of Wind, Sunagakur Ninja Village. Located in the depths of the desert, where the yellow sand flutters in the sky, there is such a ninja village. The tall city walls are surrounded by countless buildings. Every house is made of sand. And that city wall, seemingly simple, has actually been strengthened by Kazekage in all dynasties with iron sand or jitten, magnet style, and its power is enough to resist the hard attack of the ninja army. The interior was breached. The third generation of Kazekage slowly opened his eyes in the dark secret room, his expression solemn and even a little puzzled. It's been a year, a full year. Why can't I return to the peak of my state for a long time? Be that I left a dark wound when I fought against Shukaku before. Could it be Shukaku's counterattack when the tailed beast was sealed? I don't think I can recover even if I retreat, so I'll go out and find Chio and ask her to heal me again. Kazekage was about to get up when the lights suddenly came on. Handsome young man with dark yuhi hair walked in slowly. His pace was slow, even a little stiff, and every step made people feel weird, as if he was no longer a person. 3 generations of Kazekage raised eyebrows. Sasori, how did you get in? Called Sasori grinned, even his smile seemed 1/6 as stiff. It's very simple, open the door and come in. 3 generations of Kazekage suddenly felt a little short of breath and cold hands and feet. It's not a symptom that should be there. He is known as the strongest Kazekage in history. 3 generations of Kazekage hold his breath, the air is poisonous. Sasori tilted his head, his handsome face was innocent and flawless. Make puppets. This is the Kazekage Chamber of Secrets, not where you make puppets. Leave quickly. Sasori was silent for a while, then said slowly, but here are the best puppet materials. Suddenly, the 3rd generation Kazekage's eyes widened, and he looked at Sasori in disbelief. You made yourself a puppet. Sasori smiled slightly. My art is not bad, but I think you will become a more perfect art. After all, you are known as the strongest Kazekage in history. Suddenly went out, and there were dense sharp sounds in the air, which made your scalp tingle. Chapter 72. People Jinchuriki Column Force. QB 9 Tails. Open black lens bracket 7th more close black lens bracket. I want this. Minato, do you eat sushi? I can give you half. Minato, let's go eat ramen tonight. A ramen restaurant has just opened in the village, called Ichiraku Ramen. We're on a mission. I ate it, and it was delicious. Namikaze Minato smiled and looked at the lively girl in front of her, letting her chatter and talk like a lark. Maybe for others, Kushina is too lively and active, not like a girl at all, even her yuhi hair is weird and dazzling. But for Minato, from the time she entered the ninja school, this girl with beautiful yuhi hair has been deeply attracted to her. Ichiraku Ramen. Well, let's try it. But you can't eat too much now, or you won't be able to eat it later. Namikaze Minato said softly, hiding the sushi box and fishball box in his hand for Kushina. Kushina nimbly got behind him, took out a piece of sushi, and tossed it into the sky, then threw it into his mouth. Minato proudly, and seemed to say, it's amazing, me. Don't worry, I'll have 2 bowls of ramen after one finish eating these 2 boxes. Besides, I won't gain weight. Okay 29, okay. I'll listen to you. Pacing in the village, surrounded by villagers strolling leisurely, surrounded by favorite girls. Namikaze Minato thinks it's nice when he's not on a mission. Village is also very good, he likes this kind of life. Not long after the 2 strolled around, Kushina couldn't hold back, and couldn't wait to pull Minato to the ramen restaurant. Didn't you say it's good for dinner? I'm hungry, right? Let's go, there are not many people in the afternoon, so that we can eat comfortably. Well, who told me to accompany you all day today? eat ramen, and I want to eat 2 bowls too. Minato let out a hearty laugh, which caused Kushina next to him to laugh like a bell. 2 walked into the ramen restaurant, and sure enough, there were not many people in the afternoon. There were only a few guests, sitting in front of the table, eating ramen. It's quiet, but perfect for dining with people like them who have developed a relationship. Boss, 2 bowls, no, 4 bowls of ramen. Gong Yi heard the voice behind him, a little funny, this is a girl who can eat 4 bowls of ramen. He turned around and saw Namikaze Minato, and that. A lively girl with beautiful Yuhi hair. Namikaze Minato was stunned. Gong Yi, you are here too. Gong Yi said calmly, this ramen restaurant has only opened recently. For class, I passed by this place and ate twice, and I think it's not bad. So now every time after class, I come to eat a bowl. In fact, Gong Yi was a little curious, what was the place where Naruto would like to eat the most in the future, and even invited his future wife Naruto to eat for the first time. The past few years, he was in the village and had never seen Ichiraku ramen, so he had no way of knowing. Half a month ago, after he left Tsunade, he walked here by accident, only to find that Ichiraku ramen restaurant opened. Out of curiosity, he came to taste it. Well, it tastes really good. Minato, let me just say, the ramen in this shop is delicious. You see, this kid feels the same way. Minato looked at Kushina dotingly, but corrected her. Gong Yi is not a child, he is also the team leader, and I have performed missions together. Kushina was stunned. Gong Yi was not too old, at most 12 or 13 years old, 121. But she quickly recalled something Minato had come back to talk to her about. There was this Gong Yi's name in it, and Minato didn't say Gong Yi's age at the time. She thought it was a ninja about the size of Minato. Seeing Kushina's dazed look, Gong Yi slowly put down the chopsticks in his hand. Perhaps this is the sadness of the human Jinchuriki column force. Even if the identity of the Kushina's Jinchuriki column force is concealed by the high level, even Sanin does not know it, and has lived like an ordinary child since childhood. But after she grew up and performed some ninja missions, the village was still worried and left her in the village. Kushina is very sensible and probably won't complain. But her peers all went out to perform tasks, and seldom played and chatted with her, and she was concerned about the QB, 9 tails, in her body and did not contact other people. I've come and gone, even Gong Yi's name is not very familiar. Yi shook his head. In fact, it was already very good. Naruto's childhood was much more bitter than Kushina. Thinking of Naruto, Gong Yi finds it interesting again. It looks like Kushina Minato came to Ichiraku ramen. The future, although it is said that Naruto invited Hinata to go to Ichiraku ramen to eat noodles, but in fact, it was Hinata through Byakugan, knowing that Naruto did not have much money, and specially proposed to eat Ichiraku ramen. Namikaze Minato's focus is stuck on Gong Yi's class. Up. Didn't you graduate early? Why are you still in class? Gong Yi smiled lightly. After the last mission, I wanted to learn medical ninjutsu. I've been running to Konoha Hospital for the last few months. Well, Master Tsunade was there and she taught me something. Speaking of the last mission, Namikaze Minato's face was a little dark. In that battle, 2 of his team members also died in the desert. Thinking of this, Namikaze Minato saw Gong Yi's face again. Several books on the front table, books on medical ninjutsu. Perhaps he thought that if he knew medical ninjutsu at the time, he could save his companions. Inadvertently, Minato has a little more affection for Gong Yi. The 2 of them had their faces, but Gong Yi's side was almost finished. Wiping his mouth, Gong Yi picked up Shuben and prepared to leave. Namikaze Minato stopped him, but hesitated to say, "What's the matter?" Gong Yi looked at Namikaze Minato suspiciously, rarely seeing Minato so hesitant. Minato looked at Gong Yi's and then at the puzzled Kushina, and finally made up his mind. Gong Yi, during the last mission, I saw you used a kind of ninjutsu. How should I put it? It's that. Like. Minato's eyes lit up when he saw the meatball box next to Kushina. Ninjutsu like Maruko, can you teach me? Gong Yi left, and only 2 couples were left eating ramen. Kushina grumbled and asked, Minato, you don't usually teach you ninjutsu so rudely. Just happened. Namikaze Minato gently wiped Kushina's mouth with a tissue, and smiled lightly, it's nothing, I just think that ninjutsu is very powerful, so I want to learn it. And Gong Yi doesn't. Did he agree? He's actually very nice. Kushina tilted her head for a while, then Jung 320 nodded. Gong Yi people are really nice, I agree with you. Because he also likes this ramen, tisk tisk, he loves food as much as I do. Namikaze Minato can't laugh or cry. Holding the book, Gong Yi slowly walked towards the house, still recalling Namikaze Minato's expression just now in his mind. Rasengan is very good, so he wants to learn. No, it shouldn't. Minato is not such a rude person, and will not ask directly and rudely. And his own strength is also very strong, there is no need to deliberately speak for a mere ninjutsu. Then why is he? Forget it, I don't want to. This ninjutsu itself is. He developed it, and I teach him without any guilt. And maybe in 2 years, Minato can study it himself, so why should I refuse? Gong Yi smiled and looked relaxed. When writing this chapter, I subconsciously thought of the 4th generation of Minato and his wife Uzumaki Kushina. Hokage, or Konoha village, I tend to look at it from a conspiracy theoretic point of view. Even Naruto, Jiraiya, Uchiha Itachi, I also evaluate it in general. But in the whole Hokage, there are only 4 generations in Kushina, so I can't be black. As a single dog, I occasionally envy their relationship, but I am curious about what they have experienced together. According to the character's character, I specially wrote a few paragraphs. I don't know if it is good or not, but I am quite satisfied. Between lovers, shopping and eating snacks, noisy, cheerful and lively, looking for delicious shops, and meeting new friends together. I hope I have this day too. Please download Filu Shaukan latest chapter Baidu to read the ununderlined version of the novel. Search 99 Playmates to find 99 Novel Network. Chapter 73. Oh, so gentle. Just dawn, and before dawn, Gong Yi got dressed and got up. Passing through the backyard and entering the forest, Gong Yi ran at a steady pace and at a high speed. Times the gravity of 20, he has gradually become accustomed to it, and now he can use a very fast speed to climb mountains, cross rivers, and just run home at dawn. After returning home, it was another basic training session, and finally ended with a set of Pine Moon crispy steaks. Entering the swimming pool, the cold water temperature in the morning, in his opinion, is refreshing, not cold. After washing, he casually put on a black sackcloth and wrapped most of his sturdy body, only his chest was exposed. Knock at the door, Gong Yi could hear it clearly. Through the perception effect after breaking through 60 points of mental power, he already knew who was coming. Entering the house, passing through the front yard, and opening the door when the morning dew dripped on the flowers at the entrance of the yard. Gong Yi-kun, yay. I am sorry. What's the matter, Rin? Nohara Rin bowed his head bewilderedly, his face flushed. Yuhi. Did Gong Yi-kun dress so casually to open the door? His chest was exposed, and he looked so strong and broad. Gong Yi-kun looked very thin. It's nothing, Gong Yi-kun. Gong Yi glanced down at himself and couldn't help but smile. The black sackcloth made his fair complexion extremely dazzling. This little girl is shy. He didn't say much, waved his sleeves, and entered the room. Nohara Rin followed, seeing that Gong Yi-kun didn't pay attention to himself. he couldn't help but looked around curiously. What a beautiful yard! With so many flowers planted, Gong-yi-kun must be a very gentle person. It doesn't seem right. Yi-kun defeated so many people when he was in school. I heard that he also killed Jonan when he was on a mission. That's not right. Even a gentle person like Namikaze Minato never shows mercy to his enemies. That being said, Gong-yi-kun is strong and gentle, not contradictory. Gong-yi no. Knowing what Rin Nohara was thinking, he entered the room, and after a while, he took out a few books. This is a book I borrowed from Tsunade-sensei about the basics of medical ninjutsu. Look first, and ask me if there is anything you don't understand. Well, I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm going to make something to eat. Want to eat? Nohara Rin opened her mouth. She wanted to say that she had already eaten it. However, there is a word from the devil. Then trouble Gong-yi-kun. Oh, no trouble, you can read. Sitting down at the wooden pavilion outside the house, Nohara Rin held his hand and subconsciously bit his finger. Gong-yi-kun can cook and is such a gentle person. Yes, he promised to teach me medical ninjutsu, and he even went to Master Tsunade to borrow books. He is much gentler and more stable than the other boys chatting in the school. Thinking of these, some or not, Nohara Rin slowly started to read. Eat it, it should be pretty good, the way doesn't suit your taste. Nohara Rin woke up suddenly, a man's voice came from his ear, and he was a little panicked. But soon realized that it was at Kun's house. Gong-yi smiled and said, I am fascinated by it. Nohara Rin replied embarrassedly. These books are much more detailed than those taught by school teachers, and I read them by accident. Good thing, come on. You will definitely become the best medical ninja. Gong-yi encouraged him. Nohara Rin does have this talent. Performed Sharingan-SI transplant for Kakashi in the wild, and it was very fast. The talent can be seen in Madara. Nohara Rin took the wooden dinner plate that Gong-yi handed over, with a few white balls on it, steaming hot. The bowl is also decorated with Yuhi's yellow things, which looks very cute. The fragrance entered her nose, and she even secreted saliva subconsciously. Can't wait to pick up a small white ball and chew it in a small mouth. Well, delicious, hot. Gong-yi smiled and started to enjoy his own breakfast. That Rin made for Nohara. His cakes are big white steamed buns that are particularly filling, and he steamed dozens of them in one go. It's also amazing to eat. Nohara Rin stuck out his tongue and complained in his heart that he had just made a fool of himself. However, when I saw that Gong-yi-kun's breakfast was different from my own, I looked over curiously. It's also white dough, but it's big, ugly, and doesn't have Yuhi's yellow embellishments. Compared with his own, it is completely different. Nohara Rin whispered. Gong-yi-kun, did you give me all the delicious food, or did you make it for me specially? Gong-yi chewed the steamed buns and said casually, it's nothing, I have a big appetite and eat a lot. No time to make it look good, as long as you can eat it. The few cakes I made for you are just random, not deliberate. Nohara Rin pursed his lips tightly. Gong-yi said it casually, but she felt that Gong-yi-kun was too gentle. Obviously took care of making delicious food for himself, but he naturally said that he made it casually, and he didn't want to make himself feel guilty. Eat, and finish reading. I don't have to go to the hospital today, I'm just at home. If you don't understand anything, you can ask me at any time. Oh, someone will come to me in the afternoon. If I'm not in the front yard, go to the backyard and call me. Sorry for Gong-yi-kun. Learning medical ninjutsu has many benefits. Gong-yi happily looked at a research topic, the progress of the analysis of the 8 inner gates, which has been successfully completed. In terms of time, it's been over a year. Starting to take advantage of his familiarity with the plot, the analysis progress rose rapidly. But after it rose to more than 70, it slowed down. But after he started learning medical ninjutsu, he learned more and more about the structure of the human body, and the analysis progress of the 8 inner gates also accelerated. Just now, when Gong Yi was practicing Muji ninjutsu, the system prompt came. Progress, 100%. 50 points of academic excellence. Most important thing is that the analysis is successful, which means that you have a comprehensive understanding of the 8 inner gates. The next shocking door and death door can be practiced to the peak without hindrance. As for the 6th gate, Jingman Gongyi gained a little more experience after forcibly opening it last time, and spent a few months in the future, frantically using healing techniques, and he was already a master. Suddenly, Gongyi noticed that there was a smell in the front yard, so he packed up and went to the front yard. In the surprised expression of Nohara Rin, Gongyi and Namikaze Minato came to the backyard training ground hand in hand. All right, I'll show it first, this trick, I'll name it, Rasengan. Phew! A gust of breeze blew, and the chakra poured out quickly, gathered on the palm, and then spun in one direction. Speed is getting faster and the strength is getting stronger and stronger. When turning to ultimate, Gongyi slaps the ground suddenly. Boom! Powerful rotating and tearing force hit the ground abruptly, blasting a big hole. The pit is a uniform spiral pattern. Conceivable that if this ninjutsu falls on the enemy, what will happen to the enemy? Gongyi raised his head to look at Namikaze Minato. He wanted to know, as the real developer of Rasengan, what kind of expression would he have when he saw this trick. Shock and amazement disappointed Gongyi, and Namikaze Minato's expression was incomprehensible. It was joy, even a kind of knowing that the prediction was right. As expected. As expected. Hearing Namikaze Minato muttering in joy, Gongyi was puzzled. Chapter 74. Declare War. Black lens bracket 9th more close black lens bracket. Down, Namikaze Minato looked at the lines after Rasengan's bombardment, and was surprised. Was on a mission with Gongyi last time, because the battlefield was too divided, no one else saw Gongyi use Rasengan except him. And when Gongyi used Rasengan, Namikaze Minato found something special. Rasengan actually has a taste of Tailed Beast Bomb. Tailed Beast Bomb is the ultimate ninjutsu of tailed beasts. The technique is truly astounding. When I teach Kakashi privately, I feel that Kakashi's own trick, Reikiri, also strong, but in Minato's opinion, Gongyi's talent is higher than Kakashi's. At this stage, Kakashi's Reikiri has not yet reached the level, and because of the release proficiency, its power is much smaller than that of Rasengan. Namikaze Minato wants to learn Rasengan's purpose is very simple. However, Uzumaki Kushina is a human Jinchuriki column force. Kyubi 9 tails is sealed in the body. Although the Uzumaki family can be perfectly sealed with their unique physique and huge chakra-tailed beast. But there is no guarantee that there will be no accidents. If Kyubi 9 tails breaks the seal, Namikaze Minato does not want to see Kushina in danger. If you want to suppress the tailed beast, you must understand the tailed beast. Rasengan has the same principle as the tailed beast bomb. I must master, get ready. Fortunately, Gongyi is very generous and generously taught me this ninjutsu. Well, if I have a chance, I will repay him 320 times. Gongyi still doesn't know what Namikaze Minato is thinking, but only vaguely guesses that it is related to the tailed beast. After all, in the original book, Namikaze Minato is inspired by Tailed Beast Bomb and developed Rasengan. One teaches and the other learns. What Gongyi talks about, they know everything they know, and they can be regarded as teaching each other. It was the same for the next few days. As for the Konoha hospital, Tsunade has stopped being stingy with medical ninjutsu since Gongyi showed his talent for medical ninjutsu. The relevant scrolls were also given to Gongyi for him to learn. Occasionally, Gongyi will go to the hospital to perform practical operations and treat ninjas. On this day, Gongyi sat by the pool with a book in his hand and watched quietly. And in the courtyard, Namikaze Minato is also practicing Rasengan. As the most prestigious Namikaze Minato among the younger generation, his talent is beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Just a few days, he mastered Rasengan, and even used it very well. Gongyi, how do you think I'm doing? Namikaze Minato let out a sigh of relief and came to Gongyi's side. He put down the book. You and I release Rasengan together and see. No nonsense. The two ran chakra at the same time, and soon, two almost identical Rasengans were saved in their hands. Gongyi gestured, and the two slowly pushed the Rasengan against each other. Like snow meets sunlight, two Rasengans, from collision and contact, to silent annihilation. Gongyi nodded, and Namikaze Minato smiled heartily. The Rasengan made by the two is almost the same power now. Gongyi said with a smile, this ninjutsu is released by you, Minato. Your Hiraishin, I am afraid that few people in the ninja world can resist. Namikaze Minato shook his head humbly. No, I think Rasengan's combination with Gongyi's the 8 inner gates is more powerful than what I used. Hiraishin cooperates with Rasengan, walking is weird and invincible. The 8 inner gates, with Rasengan, is about speed and power. These 2 points, both of them are also true. Gongyi's heart moved, whether he was considered to be with the 4 generations of Hokage in the future. Namikaze Minato looked at Gongyi, and felt that he could not accept the other party's benefits for no reason. Gongyi is generous, but he should also give something. Gongyi, I heard about your shuriken skills. No less than me. Lord Hokage said. Well, so I was thinking, maybe you could try learning the art of Hiraishin too. Gongyi's eyes lit up. Hiraishin. One of the most famous ninjutsu in Hokage, developed by the 2nd generation Hokage, the pinnacle of shunjutsu, as high as level. If you learn it yourself, the ninja world is so big, you can't go anywhere, but he is a little there is some hesitation. This ninjutsu was learned from the sealed book after Namikaze Minato completed the difficult task. Namikaze Minato taught it privately. I'm afraid it's not very good. Perhaps seeing Gongyi's concerns, Namikaze Minato whispered, I don't mean to teach you this ninjutsu directly, but I can explain the relevant principles. With your own talent for creating Rasengan, you might be able to use Hiraishin with half study and half study. Gongyi suddenly realized, and immediately accepted Minato's kindness. Swap Rasengan for Hiraishin, and this wave of operations is not a loss, or even a big profit. However, in the next month or so of study, Gongyi helplessly discovered that it is no wonder that few people in the entire ninja world know Hiraishin. This Dao-level ninjutsu has 2 high requirements for the talent of time and space. He can't even touch the door, how can he talk about master? After another day of practice, Minato looked at Gongyi who was helpless and smiled apologetically. Sorry, I'm thinking too easily. Gongyi shook his head, it's not your fault, it's probably me who missed out on this ninjutsu. Namikaze Minato, still very apologetic, Gongyi thought for a while, then suddenly said, Minato, if you really feel bad about it, why don't you teach me seal art? Compared to Hiraishin, I'm actually more interested in seal art. Sealing. Namikaze Minato was stunned for a while. He did know the seal art, and he was very good at it. Even Hiraishin, he relies on sealing techniques and shuriken techniques. Projecting kunai and super high time and space talent, it comes from the fusion of master. Learning the seal art is a systematic project, which is quite troublesome. Namikaze Minato scratched his head, but soon, he added, I think you can learn some basics first, and then learn sealing. Basic knowledge. Well, Kushina has a lot of books related to seal art, let's go find her. 2 left the backyard together, came to the front yard, and met Kushina. During this time, because Namikaze Minato often ran to Gongyi, side, Kushina also followed from time to time. It happened that Nohara Rin was also learning medical ninjutsu here, and the two women could easily chat together. And there is one more thing. Probably because he had more contact with Nohara Rin, Namikaze Minato simply put her in his team. After Uchiha Obito found out, he also applied to join. In this way, including Kakashi of Minato's original team, the plot in the original work, relying on strong inertia, finally came together. Heard that Gangyi wanted to learn seal art. Kushina, who ate and drank a lot of delicious food at Gangyi's during this time, had no opinion, and even said happily, "I'll bring the books tomorrow. I've kept those books for more than 10 years, and they're almost moldy." When the Uzumaki clan was exterminated, most of the inheritance fell to Uzumaki Mito. And Kushina, as a new generation of Kyuubi, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki column power, is also a member of the Uzumaki clan. Uzumaki Mito passed it on to her before her death. Accident, Namikaze Minato and Kushina came to Gangyi's house early the next morning. And brought a lot of seal-related books. Kushina clapped her hands and said carelessly, "Gangyi, they are all here. If it's not enough, I still have it there. If you don't understand, just ask me. Minato's seal art is not as good as mine." Namikaze Minato smiled slightly, but there was a hint of haze between his brows. Gangyi keenly noticed that Namikaze Minato is a bright and cheerful man who rarely has such emotions. When the two were alone, Gangyi asked the doubts in his heart. Namikaze Minato didn't hide it from him. Gangyi, who beheaded 555 Jonins, was already a powerful fighting force in the village, and he would know about that in 2 days. Sunagakure village has declared war on our Konoha. Chapter 75. The beginning of the Three Wars, 10th more. According to Namikaze Minato's account, Gangyi received information about the current master in the village. The 3 generations of Keisuke in Sunagakure village have disappeared. And the time of disappearance is not certain, because the 3 generations of Keisuke have been in retreat for the past 1 or 2 years. Until a few days ago, there was an important decision in Sunagakure village that required Keisuke to come forward, so the senior management of Sunagakure village went to the secret room to meet the 3 generations of Keisuke. However, people have disappeared. The shadow is not only the most prestigious existence in the village, but also the strongest. The shadow of each village, in the village, is like a god, protecting the villagers. Disappearance of 3 generations of Keisuke is a big deal. Sunagakure village did not publicize it, and searched secretly for more than a month, but found nothing. News, no traces, not even a body was found. Under such circumstances, the contradictions in the village have gradually intensified, and the living conditions of the villagers in Sunagakure village are not very good, and now even the shadows are gone. The village of Sunagakure is headless, with internal discord, and there are faint signs of collapse. In order to ease the situation in the village, divert the contradictions, and no longer focus the villagers' attention on the 3 generations of Keisuke, the high-level decision was made. Declaration of war on Konoha. It was the Konoha ninja who assassinated our Keisuke. From time to time, the disappearance of the 3 generations of Keisuke was when the Konoha peace envoy visited Sunagakure village. That visit, Orochimaru with the title of Sanin, Namikaze Minato with the title of Yellow Flash, and the newly rising genius Dark Blue Devil. According to the news, after the interview, the Dark Blue Demon returned to the village with serious injuries. Orochimaru avoided anyone, and a funeral was held in Konoha village. It can be judged that there is a secret war in this visit. Seriously injure such a powerful visit, almost no one can do it except our strongest 3rd generation Keisuke. It's Konoha, the Keisuke who killed us, we want revenge. Excuse, a flawed excuse. However, this has become a life-saving straw for the top executives of Sunagakure, who have subtly passed on the contradictions in the village. Only war can bring new life. Looking at the courtyard that was still lively a few days ago, Gongyi sat in front of the gazebo. Nohara Rin left, followed Namikaze Minato, and began to perform related tasks before the war. Gongyi was idle, but destined to be busy soon. In the village has already begun. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, a large number of ninjas will rush to the front line to start a fierce battle at the junction of the Land of Fire and the Land of Wind. At the books in his hand, Gongyi smiled helplessly. Originally, I wanted to calm down and study the sealing technique, but unfortunately I didn't have the time. Whoosh! An Anbu ninja appeared in the courtyard and said directly to Gongyi, "The war is about to start, and the Gong squad will also carry out the mission." Gongyi glanced at him lightly. The team needs to replenish players. Facing Gongyi's eyes, Anbu ninja subconsciously avoided it, and he actually felt a little afraid to look directly. Master Hokage has made a decision on this matter, and the staff will make up for it tomorrow, and the corresponding tasks will be arranged immediately. Well, go back and report to Lord Hokage, just say I know. Looking at the smoke of the Anbu ninja disappearing, he came, and his slender figure has gradually taken on the appearance of a man. Sure enough, the war is about to begin. But this is just an appetizer. Sunagakure village is nothing to be afraid of. The most severe moment of the Third Ninja World War is far from here. The next day, at Gongyi's home, three 3-year-olds waited quietly. Time seemed to pass slowly, and for those who waited, there were already complaints. Hyuga Kionzong stood silently, and he didn't have anything to say to the other two new faces. After experiencing too many deaths of his companions, Hyuga Chizong, who was a reserved introvert, has now become quite withdrawn. Squeak. Press. The door was slowly pushed open. Gongyi in a green vest walked out slowly. His eyes fell on his teammates. Hyuga thousand cases, needless to say. The two new members, Might Guy, Sarutobi Asuma. He is thoughtful, and the addition of Might Guy is not surprising to him. He practiced the 8 inner gates himself, and Might Guy also learned the 8 inner gates from his father, and the two took the same path. According to the idea of the 3-generation-old man, having his own teaching Might Guy can have a very good effect. To teach their own son to him, which is very interesting. Do you start to trust me, or do you think that with me, you can protect Asuma? The corners of Gongyi's mouth, slightly raised. This scene, in the eyes of the 3 team members, seemed a bit unfathomable. Hi Gongyi, today is another bloody day. Might Guy waved his hand and said excitedly, opening his mouth. Kiba's teeth were bright white. Gongyi nodded. Welcome to the Gong squad. The 3 of you introduce yourself. Hyuga Thousand Sects. No, Hyuga Kionzong simply said the name, and nothing else. Tobi Asuma was originally dissatisfied with his father for letting him join the palace team, and after waiting so long in the morning, now seeing Hyuga Kionzong's indifferent attitude, he became even more infamous. Aren't you going to introduce your strengths? Otherwise we will perform tasks in the future. How will we cooperate? Hyuga Kionzong glanced at him. As the son of Lord Hokage, don't you know what the Hyuga clan is good at? Asuma's expression froze, embarrassed. He could only hold the fire and introduce himself. My name is Asuma. I'm good at futon, wind style, ninjutsu, that's all. Gongyi glanced at him and sighed inwardly. It is a family ninja, and the average ninja only graduates from school, and at most will be able to perform the 3-body technique. Where like Asuma, futon, wind style, ninjutsu is already a lot. Might Guy's self-introduction is very simple, but it is very passionate. Everyone gets to know each other, they know each other. Gongyi also has a track record for his team. If only in terms of team strength, Hyuga Chizong, as a mission-experienced Chunin, is undoubtedly stronger. But limited by the fact that he is only a branch of the Hyuga family, the prospects are not very good. Asuma is the son of the third generation of Hokage. If it is not for the third generation to suppress him, he is afraid that he will go out to perform tasks prematurely and die, and he actually has the ability to graduate early. Maybe after a few missions, Asuma can become Chunin. As for Might Guy, Gong Yi looked at the hot-blooded self-confidence, like a young man who didn't know what failure was, but his heart was a bit complicated. This person, from the beginning, was not the most amazing one, and his strength was also the weakest among his peers. Worked hard and was always training. In the end, he became the strongest existence among his peers. Almost kicked out the finale with one kick, but it's not a joke. After getting to know each other, I have nothing to say. Now that the time is urgent, Gong Yi has no time to train these players. A wave of his hand, Gong Yi gave the order to dissolve. Tomorrow morning, gather at the Konoha gate, go back and prepare for the mission, bring all the ninja weapons and rations. Qianzong, you stay, I have something to say to you. Chapter 76. The Ninja Army sets off. Open black lens bracket 11th more close black lens bracket. The gate of Konoha village, noisy from early morning. Was more than 8 o'clock, there were people everywhere, and people had to squeeze through. Glance, the crowd is full of people. There are fighting ninjas who are going to the border to perform missions, as well as low-level ninjas who are responsible for repairing ninja tools and providing logistics, and even a medical team specially formed by the Konoha hospital. In addition, there are many family members who saw off the ninja. Sarutobi Asuma stood in the team excitedly, for a genin like him who just came out of the ninja school. Every task is so novel and so attractive. And the first mission, which is participating in the initial war, is even more exciting. Might Guy, did you see the dozens of ninjas over there? What's wrong? Those with the dog are ninjas from the Inuzuka clan. Next to them, it is 3220. Barame family. And to the east, the Yamanaka clan, the Akamichi clan, and the Nara clan, who have been friends for generations, also sent people. Well, this is the Hyuga clan, they stand alone in a place. Ah, the Uchiha clan, they are actually participating in this war. Asuma's body began to tremble, and he could not wait to rush to the battlefield immediately. Might Guy, if we can kill a few Jonin in this war, maybe we can become Jonin when we come back. Might Guy scratched his head, not knowing how to answer this. Hyuga Qianzong next to them glanced at the two of them, and the corner of his mouth twitched. Think everyone is the captain of Gong Yi, Jonin's strength, how do they? The rookies who just came out know. If Yuan was still alive, he would have ridiculed them long ago. Hyuga Chizong sighed, remembering the words the captain left him last night. In the early stage of the war, intelligence acquisition, small-scale battles, and occupation of bases are the main points, and too many casualties will not occur. We have 2 rookies in our team, who are very suitable for this kind of task, to hone the rookies. As Chunin in the team, Qianzong, you are very experienced. If I am not here, you will be the temporary captain and make corresponding decisions. I'll mention one more thing, Sarutobi Asuma, whose identity is not ordinary, you pay attention to his safety. Hyuga Qianzong squeezed his hands, what a mocking reality. Even though he is a ninja from the same village, when he is in danger, he must give priority to the safety of the rookie. However, he knew that this was just a normal thing. It seems that the ninjas sent by the Hyuga clan this time are not all people from their separate family. Called War doesn't seem to have anything to do with main clan. Unlike the ninjas from the Hyuga branch who are silent and resentful, this place is full of a bit of fanaticism. The man at the front, Uchiha Chikaz, is the leader of the tribe. He looked ambitiously at the weak Konoha ninjas nearby, with disdain on his face, but a little excitement in his heart. Finally applied to participate in the war. If we can obtain labor in this war with Sunagakur, then the village will no longer dare to underestimate the Uchiha family. I will also lead the tribe to a new peak. Those short-sighted clansmen thought it was enough to have the sole control of the Konoha police department. How did they know that this is nothing but Konoha's top management to keep us out of the center of power? It's fame, wealth, power. With the powerful strength of our Uchiha clan, we should be the Konoha advisor, the Konoha Hokage. Not the Konoha police department that stays outside the village all year round. Gongyi walked into the crowd. Someone found out that it was him, and subconsciously made way for him. Gongyi smiled and nodded to the villagers, heading towards the place where his team assembled. Behind him, there are the villagers, praises and discussions. Most of them are saying that there are not many young talents on Sunagaku's side, but we have a strong genius like Gongyi here, and we will win this battle. This confidence, after Orochimaru's presence, developed to its peak. Orochimaru-sama, one of the Sanins, is also dispatched. Sunagaku village cage is gone. Orochimaru-sama is invincible on the battlefield, isn't it? I heard that Sunagaku's Rasa is also very strong. That's all, apart from Orochimaru-sama, and Jiraiya-sama, Tsunade-sama didn't move. There are 3 generations of Hokage sitting in the village. Where did Sunagaku have the courage to fight with us? Gongyi came to the front of the team, with his hands behind him, watching Orochimaru's high-spirited appearance. Might Guy was a little surprised, as even Orochimaru-sama dispatched. Gongyi explained lightly, this time, the commander is Lord Orochimaru. Ignoring the team's thoughts, Gongyi narrowed his eyes slightly. Obviously, some time ago, Orochimaru's reputation in the village decreased and the evaluation was not good, which made the old man of 3 generations feel a little urgency. Happens to be a war, and this is the easiest place to gain fame. Orochimaru is the commander. As long as he wins, then the next 3 generations of Hokage can choose Orochimaru to succeed the 4th generation of Hokage. Gongyi shook his head. Unfortunately, Orochimaru is not here. Go. No pre-war speeches, no morale boosting, not a single word of nonsense from Orochimaru. A big wave of his hand, everyone started. Raindrops fell continuously from the sky, but the air was full of restlessness, and people were uncertain. Except the 4th Ninja War, the first 3 wars that swept the major ninja villages were almost all in a sad and depressing atmosphere. Night, heavy rain, with assassinations, fierce battles, and then the death, wounding, and pain that spread throughout the villages. In the end, it is the so-called hatred. Of course, these hatreds, if Gongyi were to evaluate them, were actually just unequal interests. Gongyi is not in the mood for evaluation right now. He has to go to Orochimaru and pick up the quest. This war was just the beginning, and Konoha has sent more than 700 ninjas. Then 700 ninjas are divided into teams of 3 or 4. As long as there is no large-scale decisive battle, this small group combat method will last for a long time. Orochimaru's assignments are very interesting. 1. There are nearly 100 captains, among which Jonin occupies more than 30, and there are more than 60 experienced veteran Chunin. He was on the way, handing out tasks one by one. In this regard, Gongyi believes that it is to prevent mission-critical information from being known by too many people. After all, in each village, there may be spies planted by other villages, and the tasks are distributed separately, which can play a good role in keeping secrets. Moreover, this is also in line with Orochimaru's psychologically dark style of doing things. It takes about a day to get to the border of the Land of Fire from Konoha village. During the break, Gongyi stepped into Orochimaru's tent. When he just entered, his muscles tightened instantly. Oh, Orochimaru, is this the last member of our mission? Tisk tisk, a mere kid, there is really no talent in the village. Chapter 77. Nara Shikaku, S. Wisdom 12 more. Gong Yi's eyes narrowed slightly, and he glanced at the people in the tent, frowning slightly. Leader of the Uchiha clan in this battle, Uchiha Chika's. Hyuga's branch leader, Hyuga's name. And the strong man of the Nara clan, Nara Shikaku. If you add Orochimaru sitting above it, it is not difficult to explain why previously your body will have a subconscious alert response. If these four people join forces, Gong Yi has no chance of surviving. Of course, as a ninja from the same village, Gong Yi doesn't have to worry about these. Loosen the tense muscles in his body. Gong Yi nodded to Orochimaru. I'll pick up the mission. Orochimaru hummed, handed the task document to Gong Yi, and said, "This is your team's task, and I will arrange a special task for you. Mission level. Taking the assignment document, Gong Yi looked at the other three people in the tent thoughtfully. Asking for a mission, just ask directly, they'll go on a mission with me. Level tasks with a high degree of danger. The two-level missions Gong Yi completed before, the people involved, all of them could threaten his existence. Such as Rasa, Kazama Hiroshi, and Kaku, 2, and 29 that hundreds of ninjas besieged. In the second sub-mission, along with Gong Yi, are Orochimaru, Namikaze Minato, and Anbu Elite Jonin. By analogy, Gong Yi is performing a level mission this time, and his companions must not be weak. Orochimaru nodded appreciatively. He liked Gong Yi's character of not asking the task, first determining the situation. Yes, Uchiha Chika's, Hyuga Shenming, and Nara Shikaku. They'll go on missions with you. Mission status. Mission. Raid a secret stronghold on the border of the Land of Winds. According to the Anbu information we got, there are 7 Jonins, 3 elite Jonins, and even a puppet master in that stronghold. Your mission is to kill everyone in the base and destroy all equipment. Gong Yi was a little surprised. Such a powerful force, entrenched in one stronghold, what are they trying to do? On the side spoke out and explained to Gong Yi. The fighting style of Sunagakure village is mostly Doden, Earth style, Futon, Wind style, Ninjutsu. In addition to this, there are sand escapes mutated from Doden, Earth style, and puppet technique. But sand dun and puppet technique are not ninjutsu that can be released directly. Puppet technique requires a powerful puppet as the target of the technique, and sand dun is strictly a chakra control ninja tool. Chakra to extract sand and soil, make it highly destructive, and then give it to ninjas to control and use. And in that heavily guarded stronghold, Sunagakure specializes in making puppets and refining sand. These explanations, Gong Yi suddenly realized. Isn't this the battlefield arsenal, specializing in the manufacture of weapons? Why do you explain so much? Let's just kill everyone. Long-winded. Uchiha Chinfeng said impatiently. It was him just now. When he was camping, he spoke sarcastically. Orochimaru glanced at him, too lazy to say that the Uchiha clan are arrogant, and even arrogant. It is difficult to get along with other villagers in the village. This is outside the village and has a separate station. In this way, the Uchiha clan did not know much about the village's news, or even a lot of things and people. Like Gong Yi, who has only been famous for a year or two, a genius and strong man, even if the Uchiha people noticed it, they just smiled disdainfully. Compared to Uchiha, Gong Yi is nothing. In their eyes, it is estimated that Gong Yi is slightly stronger ordinary ninja. Orochimaru certainly does not see it that way, even he will be cautious about the strength of the master of the 8 inner gates. Uchiha Chinfeng is so arrogant. Maybe this is the reason why the Uchiha family is not as good as the day. This mission, Shikaku, you are the captain. Gong Yi, Uchiha Chinfeng, Hyuga Shenming, you listen to his command. The speed of destroying the stronghold must be fast, and after the task is completed, come back immediately. Nara Shikaku nodded. Hyuga Shenming had no opinion. Uchiha Chinfeng looks very bad, and his face is gloomy. He was the representative sent by the Uchiha clan this time, and he couldn't even be a temporary captain on such a mission. At some point, the Uchiha clan needed to follow someone else's orders, but thinking that Orochimaru was the commander-in-chief in the battle against Tsunagakure, he held back. Uchiha's goal this time is to gain military exploits, gain fame, and squeeze into the high-level power circle of Konoha. Offending Orochimaru at this time is too short-sighted. If Orochimaru's heart is unhappy, and he doesn't assign important tasks to them later, then he will be in vain. After going back, at least I was blamed by a few old guys in Uchiha. Uchiha Chinfeng waved his hand. Not guilty, it doesn't mean he wants to give a good face. Ask about the departure time of the mission and leave the camp directly. Gong Yi walked behind and found Nara Shikaku, who came out with him. Sir Shikaku, can we have a chat? Nara Shikaku smiled slightly. Let's go together then. Oh, you don't have to call me sire, call me captain, or teacher. The Nara family is a famous ninja family in the village, and they often produce some outstanding resourceful talents. Like Nara Shikaku, he has a very high talent for managing villages and planning operations. There are many young ninjas who like to call him teacher. Because from time to time he would instruct some ninjas on how to perform their missions safely. This time he participated in the battle, although nominally teamed up with the ninjas of the three clans of Ino Shikacho, but in fact, he also served as Orochimaru's counselor and advisor. Gong Yi nodded. Teacher Shikaku, I want to ask 320, why is it in such a hurry? Are you saying that the time to attack and destroy the opponent's stronghold is too urgent? Gong Yi hummed. Yes, we will only arrive at the front line tomorrow. Our foothold is not stable, and the task of obtaining information has not yet started. It feels too risky to go into the hinterland in such a hurry to destroy a stronghold. It's not an adventure, it's a danger, so this is a top-level mission. Shikaku said with a smile. He was in his 20s, much older than Gong Yi. When speaking, it seems that it is to support this young ninja, and he tends to explain the simple things in simple terms. You can think of it this way, we have just arrived at the front line, and our foothold is not stable, and everything should be based on stable defense. It's the correct approach, and the enemy will judge the same way. In this case, we played an early starter and also sent the strongest lineup. Tsunagakure is absolutely unresponsive. Gong Yi suddenly realized, and he felt a little more confident about the task in his heart. He is not a ninja from a wealthy family, arrogant. Is very clear about his position. The mission would be much safer if a very smart person like Nara Shikaku gave the orders. Nara Shikaku stopped abruptly, wiped the rain on his face, and sighed leisurely. The puppet of the stronghold, we have to deal with it as much as possible. Otherwise, Tsunagakure will use the cold puppet to consume the life of our village ninja. I don't want to see that scene. Chapter 78. The Strongest Puppet Master, Menziman 13th. Next day, hundreds of Konoha ninjas came to the border of the country of fire. As long as you cross the undulating mountains in front of you, you will be the land of wind. Perhaps this is not accurate, but there is actually a plain area in the middle, which belongs to the neutral country of rivers. Of the two villages never regarded it as the territory of the river country, it was nothing more than a buffer zone between great powers. Once the war breaks out, it's a battlefield, and the two sides will face each other. After reaching the border, Orochimaru issued an order to be vigilant in place, and then arranged for ninjas to build the base camp fortifications. All ninjas, according to the tasks previously issued, build defense lines in the mountains, dense forests, and rivers in front of them. Although Gong Yi has additional tasks, his team also has corresponding vigilance tasks. Standing in the forest 2 kilometers away from the base camp, Gong Yi took out a map and pointed to an area. Here's your task, build a warning area here. I'll divide it into 3 pieces. Asuma, you're on the east side, Guy, you're on the side. Gong Yi divided the tasks, and finally pointed to the relatively middle area of the map, and said to Hyuga Qianzong, if you are tired, take care of the center. With your Byakugan observation range, once you find a situation, you will quickly support it. Do you understand? Hyuga Qianzong nodded, understood. Might Guy doesn't have any opinion either, he will do whatever the captain arranges. Asuma was puzzled, and pointed to the part of Gong Yi's map that extended outwards. Captain, our area belongs to a relatively backward place. Be alert here, are there any enemies? Gong Yi said lightly, the frontmost area will be handled by experienced ninjas. Middle, Aburame and Inuzuka cross defense. You are all still newbies, leaning on the relatively back, familiarize yourself with the situation first. The so-called experienced ninja in Gong Yi's mouth is actually a civilian ninja who acts as cannon fodder. Konoha's real line of defense is still in the second line, built by Inuzuka and Aburame, which is also paired with the Hyuga and Yamanaka clans. A ninja from a family like Asuma would not understand. At this time, Asuma's face turned to Yuhi, and he said angrily, this is looking down on us. Why not arrange the frontline security task, but put it behind the safest? Quote. Gong Yi snorted coldly, the mission was issued by Commander Orochimaru, do you have an opinion? Asuma's expression froze when he heard Orochimaru's name. Of his father's 3 apprentices, the one he was most afraid of and most reluctant to contact, was Chimaru, with a gloomy body all over him. It was their captain. Gong Yi calmed down and explained a few words. Don't think that the security mission behind it is safe, on the contrary, for you, the more behind it, the more dangerous it is. Both Might Guy and Asuma were stunned, not understanding what he meant. Hyuga Qianzong said thoughtfully and tentatively. Because once there is an enemy here, it means that they have a strong strength to avoid the 2 lines of defense in front. Neat, we are right. Gong Yi said appreciatively, yes, Zong understands it right. If that's the case, you should either immediately join forces to fight the enemy, or call for help directly, but you can't be in love with the battle. The task of killing the enemy is handed over to the rescued combat mission team. With Shikaku's help, Konoha was fully prepared in the early days of this war. Instead of squads alone, there are intelligence units, police combat units, medical units, logistics units, and so on. Gong Yi and the others belong to the guard force, preventing the enemy from infiltrating the rear and stealing information. The fighting force is composed of the Uchiha clan, who are powerful in combat, the Hyuga clan, whose physical skills are the highest in Konoha, and the Akamichi clan, whose master doubles the secret art. War is never a child's play, the war of ninjas is more cruel. Not as simple as fighting and killing. There are many ways to go here. Of course, if it really comes to the decisive battle, all the troops will turn into combat troops and throw themselves into the battlefield like a meat grinder. Asuma glancing at Might Guy, I realized that they were thinking a little simpler. On the battlefield, no place is safe, not even relatively far behind. Asuma scratched his head in embarrassment. It turned out that the task was not as simple as he thought. By the way, Captain, how about you? Another quest. After Gong Yi ordered Qianzong and the others, he looked up at the sky, the time was almost up. You are on guard here for 3 days, after 3 days someone will come to change the shift, and then you will go back to the base camp to rest. Qianzong, I leave it to you here. After speaking, Gong Yi jumped and disappeared into the jungle. On a low mountain peak, stood 3 men, each exuding a powerful aura, causing the surrounding animals to flee in all directions. As soon as Gong Yi moved, he appeared in front of the 3 of them. HMPH, weak guy, come so slowly, we've been waiting for you for a long time. Glancing at Uchiha Chinfeng, Gong Yi didn't bother to talk nonsense with him, the people of the Uchiha clan are all like this. Captain Shikaku, sorry for being late. 2 newcomers in the team who graduated from the ninja school, I have more time to explain the task to them. Shikaku held a crystal ball in his hand, with people walking back and forth faintly on it. He smiled, it's okay, we are here to determine the specific location, not waiting for you alone. Seeing that he was ignored by Gong Yi, Uchiha Chinfeng glared and wanted to speak. Hyuga Shenming didn't give him a chance, and asked directly, when everyone is here, when will we leave? Shikaku put away the crystal ball. I use the telescope technique taught by Hokage-sama just now to check the location of our spy ninja, and thus determine the destination. Now, go. Order. Nara Shikaku ran straight out, and the other 3 followed closely behind him. In the dense forest, the silhouettes of the 4 people are looming, and there is often an afterimage at this moment, and disappears at the next moment. With the strength of the 4 of them, it is more than enough to attack and intercept the shadow of a certain village. The goal of the mission is to destroy the arsenal built by Sunagakure on the rear battlefield. Successful, it can greatly weaken the strength of Sunagakure and catch them by surprise. Even in terms of morale, it can also have the effect of increasing and decreasing. In the yellow sand in the sky, there is an oasis. As the border of the land of wind, which is adjacent to the land of rivers, the natural environment can completely give birth to this kind of oasis. On the oasis, there are bushes and grass, and everything is ordinary. But underground, it's unbelievably vast. A steady stream of puppet materials were sent here, and then, through the hands of a white-haired man, were divided into different groups to polish and form puppet parts. Not many people who can do this kind of work in the whole Sunagakure village. Talented puppet stylist Sasori of the Red Sand might, but he's still young. The man in front of him was commanding everything with ease. Just because he is the most powerful and oldest puppet master in Sunagakure village, Menziman. Please download the latest chapter of Filu Shoukan Baidu Search 99 Playmate Find 99 Novel Network. Chapter 79. Kill them. Open black lens bracket 14th more close black lens bracket. Every village has 1 or 2 ancient beings, such as Hanzo of the Salamander, the demigod of the land of rain, Hokage of Konoha, and Onoki of the 2-day scale of Iwagakure village. All are strong and knowledgeable old men. It can not only play the role of protecting the village, but also teach the next generation of ninjas. Kurigakure village and Kumogakure village are quite special. These 2 villages, one has a ninja sword with 7 people and 7 people. The tradition of encouraging infighting and fighting, and the other is extremely warlike, and it is difficult for ninjas to live long and old. And in Sunagakure village, there is such a person. He and the 2nd generation Kazekage jointly developed the puppet technique, and the culmination of the puppet technique, the master is a powerful white secret technique. Mechanical puppet he developed by himself, more than 10 people from 10 people in Jinmatsu, was famous during World War II. Even the genius puppet stylist Sasori of the Red Sand admits that he is the one who wants to challenge the most. Monziman, an old man older than the 3 generations of Hokage and Onoki, is also the card of Sunagakure village after Kazecage's death-faced figure. The withered palm, at a speed that is almost a young man, flexibly assembled a puppet, and Monziman stopped. Seeing the busy juniors around, Monziman couldn't help sighing. The family knows their own affairs. Compared to participating in this war, he wants to stay in the village, study puppet technique, and occasionally teach the puppet technique of younger ninjas. The disappearance of 3 generations of Kazekage, so that he can no longer enjoy a peaceful life. This war is not only to divert the contradictions in the village, but also to push Rasa to the position of Kazekage through battlefield performance. This is Chiyo's decision. As a teacher and friend with Chiyo, I can't stand by and do something. Oh, I don't know if your decision to declare war on Konoha this time is right or wrong. Monziman shook his head and was about to resume his work, but just as he stretched out his hand, he couldn't help but stop. Up at the top of the ground above, Monziman waved his hand, and countless well-made puppets appeared beside him. Enemy attack, prepare for battle. With a sullen cry, all the ninjas in the stronghold poured out. And on the desert floor above the stronghold, Shikaku nodded to Gong Yi. Let's get started. Hem. The 8 inner gates, open and injured, 4 gates, open. Gong Yi went up and down, terrifying energy, glanced at Uchiha Chinfeng who had opened Sharingan and Byakugan. Hyuga died, and then used all his strength, stomped hard on the ground with one foot. Boom! Boom! A violent explosion sounded out of thin air. Almost instantly, the smoke and dust rose, and a large hole suddenly appeared in this desert. The power of human power is so strong. Uchiha Chinfeng's pupils shrank, and he put away the contempt he had previously held, and he dared not underestimate this little devil who was not in his eyes. Hyuga Shenming looked hideous. Byakugan turned and pointed down. It's there. Shikaku no nonsense, kill. Unwilling to be left behind, Uchiha Chinfeng jumped in first. In the air, and the hands are quickly hand-sealed. Cadent fire style, majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation. Raging flames sprayed unscrupulously, and with the strengthening of Sharingan, the range of this level of ninjutsu actually shrouded most of the stronghold. The fiery breath made people sweat, and the bursting flame, like the tongue of the god of death, swept frantically. When there was no time to let go, 3 soft drinks sounded. Doden Earth Style, Rampart of Flowing Soil. Doden Earth Style, Rampart of Flowing Soil. Doden Earth Style, Rampart of Flowing Soil. The same ninjutsu, released at the same time in the hands of 3 Jonin, huge walls, up, slanted to block the blazing fire in the air. For a while, Gong Yi, Shikaku and the others couldn't go down. After a long while, the fire released by the majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation dissipated, and the 3 rampart of flowing soil gathered together, except a little burnt, was not damaged at all. Chakras are withdrawn, the walls gradually disappear. 4 of Konoha who were blocked, looked around and saw that the enemy had already assembled. Uchiha Chinfeng's face was not very good-looking. He wanted to be the majestic destroyer flame, great fire annihilation of ninjutsu, but instead gave the other party time to gather, which made the Hayate plan to sweep the leaves set by Shikaku, and suddenly failed. And below, led by the door guard, 7 Jonin, 3 elite Jonin, plus 100 middle genin, are looking at them coldly. Uchiha, Hyuga, Nara Shikaku. Haha, it looks like you Konoha are all out. Nara Shikaku had a panoramic view of the number of people present, and said lukewarmly, just the few of us, we can't even account for 1% of the village's strength, so why are we all out? Contrary, you, Sunagakur, gathered hundreds of ninjas from just one stronghold. You really have planned this war for a long time. The guard on the left side of the door raised his hair lightly. If you hadn't assassinated our Kazekage, how could the war have started? Huh. Shikaku sneered. Kazekage, is it true or false? Do you Sunagakur have no idea? The doorman on the left was silent. He didn't know the truth about this matter, but he really didn't believe it was related to Konoha. No one can silently assassinate Kazekage in Sunagakur village. There is no right or wrong for the reason of war, it is just an excuse. We are all adults and understand this. The guard on the left side of the door raised his hand, and then slammed it down. Kill them. Nara Shikaku's expression did not change, and he quickly issued an order. Less is more, and wandering and killing is the main thing. Gong Yi, you are in charge of all the middle genin, Uchiha Chinfeng, and you are in charge of the 3 elite Jonin. Hyuga's name is lost, and the 7 Jonin will be handed over to you. Nara Shikaku looked at Monziman, and he wanted to meet the legendary puppet master for a while. Uchiha Chinfeng grinned. 3 elite Jonin, yes, let's use this to show my Uchiha's prestige. Hyuga's name is still the same. Silence. the 77 Jonin, was too stressful for him. If you want to kill, it is very difficult, and even saving your life is a bit difficult. He's not from main clan, just the Hyuga branch. If it is the powerhouse of main clan, 77 Jonin besieged, and 1 Jonin, there is no difference. But he couldn't resist Nara Shikaku's order. If he did, not to mention the commander Orochimaru can be executed first and then be punished. After returning to the village, main clan can kill him and hand it over to the high-level Konoha to apologize. Gong Yi didn't speak, but moved his body and rushed down. Hundreds of ninjas, what's similar to the last mission. But this time, we are not the ones who were surrounded and killed, but the ones who actively hunted. Just use you to measure my practice during this period of time. After him, Uchiha Chinfeng took the initiative to find the 3 elite Jonin. Hyuga Shenming put on a defensive stance, carefully staring at the 77 Jonins who came around. The doorman on the left watched all this, and the ninja on his side followed Shikaku's mind without stopping him. It's very simple, one side is 3-on-1, and the other is 7-on-1, even if they were the 2 famous Konoha giants at the time. If Tsunogaku's ninjas couldn't even defeat them, it would be better to surrender as soon as possible in this war. On the other side, hundreds of ninjas went to surround and kill an extremely young boy, and the result was already doomed. Nara Shikaku walked over to the door on the left side of the door, looking solemn. Senior, please advise. This battle, no matter what. It was a hunter or a prey, from the very beginning, I never thought about letting the other party go back alive. A violent explosion, after a brief dullness, roared. Kill. Kill. Chapter 80. Gong Yi's sword 15th more. Kang. A weapon different from the samurai sword suddenly appeared in Gong Yi's hands. Its body is about 1 meter long, with double-sided blades, and its peak is sharp. If you look closely, it has a hint of a Chinese longsword. In the Hokage world, there are many weapons similar to the Washa longsword. No matter what. The Thunder God sword of the 2nd generation Hokage, or the long sword sealed in the first Hokage scroll, and its appearance is exactly the same as the Washa longsword. Sword, when Gong Yi was resting, spent 10,000 taels, specially looking for a craftsman to customize it. Building a long sword, of course, is not the plot of the Chinese sword as a soldier kunzi in it. Gong Yi is to maximize his strength. Kunai is too short to be good for fighting multiple enemy sieges. The Japanese samurai sword is extremely sharp, but it is too fragile and can be easily broken. Moreover, the katana sword only has a one-sided opening, and the function is slightly single. The sword is different. At the request of Gong Yi, many precious materials were added to make it thick and sturdy. Not only can it cut the enemy on both sides, but even the tip of the sword can also have the effect of piercing and killing. Usually this sword is placed in the seal scroll by Gong Yi, and when he encounters many enemies, he can take it out quickly. At this moment, the long sword was in his hand, and a flash of Chu Hong flashed, matching his slender figure, which was extremely unrestrained. Unfortunately, at this juncture, no one will appreciate his style. In Gong Yi's four-door state, his speed increased sharply, and he smashed into the crowd with one move. Crap! People passed, swords passed, a thin line was smeared on the enemy's throat, and then blood gushed out. Simple, fast, Gong Yi is extremely satisfied. If he didn't use a weapon, he would have to kill him with one punch, which would be too laborious. The biggest difference between humans and animals is good at using weapons, and pursuing stronger weapons has been one of human instincts since ancient times. There is no special action, Gong Yi face. The long sword swept across the crowd. Of the sharp blade cutting through the skin was so light and so pleasant. However, in the ears of the enemy, it is like a whisper of death. He's good at physical art, don't melee. Bomb him with ninjutsu. A ninja gave orders, and everyone dispersed, and then Hand Seal released ninjutsu. In response, Gong Yi just smiled. The time you Hand Seal is enough for me to kill you 100 times, 1,000 times. For a light taunt, Gong Yi suddenly appeared behind an enemy, and his long sword was inserted into the ninja's heart with his backhand. The ninja's fingers are bending the Hand Seal, ready to release a powerful ninjutsu. Too bad he couldn't wait for that time. Gong Yi walked in the crowd calmly, swinging his sword and killing the enemy. When he encountered the ninjutsu prepared by the enemy behind his back, he suddenly increased his speed and disappeared from the opponent's eyes. When he appears, it means that another ninja has lost his life. Similar to the 8 inner gates. The strongest and the strongest, at this moment Gong Yi, even with the 4 gates open, looks soft and unrestrained. Hundreds of low-level ninjas can't even touch Kakuzu. In fact, this is also the main reason why Orochimaru specially let Gong Yi join this temporary team to carry out the mission. For those with advanced physical skills and rich ninjas, the siege of the weak and low-level ninjas is of little significance. Ninjutsu, the power of taijutsu, the speed alone is not something that the lower ones can keep up with. He can't fight, and he has no physical strength. Gong Yi can also retreat directly. This principle, in the original Hokage, also has a similar example. The third generation of Raikage fought against tens of thousands of ninjas with one's own strength, and finally, without retreating. A strong man who is good at taijutsu, even with the blessing of Raiden, Thunder style, reached cage level. In other words, no matter how many ninjas below cage level, siege is meaningless. If it weren't for the end of the third generation of Raikage, he would not leave himself a way to survive, and there would be no idea of escaping. Of thousands of ninjas might not be able to kill him. Moreover, he was indeed not killed, but he was exhausted and exhausted. Gong Yi estimated that at his own speed, it would take about 10 minutes to kill all the low-level ninjas present. Now that he has fully parsed the 8 inner gates, the duration has also increased from the original 10 minutes, 20 minutes, to 30 minutes. Time is enough. By heart, Gong Yi is in the battle, and even has enough energy to observe the battle of the other 3. Thing he observed was Uchiha Chinfeng. The Uchiha clan, when the Senju clan did not leave, was the strongest in the ninja world. And this clan also produced many strong men who disrupted the world. Pacified the turmoil in Sengoku, Uchiha Obito who triggered the 4th Ninja World War, Shisui who is known as Uchiha's strongest genius, and that the handsome Brokan, Uchiha Itachi. Even Kakashi, who only got one eye guys, they can get the title of copy ninja. Shows the strength of the Uchiha clan. Just because he is strong, Gong Yi will not talk about dealing with them in the future. With Uchiha Chikas and observe the opponent's battle mode, so that you can prepare for it later. Gong Yi focused his attention on Uchiha Chinfeng, looked at it for a while, and frowned unconsciously. Weird. The way this person fights is very strange. 3 elite Jonin, each with the strength of Kurosuke Lei Kiba, may only be slightly weaker. Gong Yi felt that if he was right, it would be very troublesome. But Uchiha Chinfeng is the upper hand in the battle. Among them, Sunagakur who uses Futon Wind style as fighting head-on, and he restrains Uchiha Chinfeng's Kaden Fire style very well. But the other 2, the strength they showed, couldn't even compare to the average Jonin, just like Chunin. If it weren't for that Futon Wind style ninja, Uchiha Chinfeng would definitely kill the 2 elite Jonin in an instant. 3-on-1, 2 in a trance, sometimes awake, sometimes confused, ninjutsu blinds Jill, and needs help from companions. Gong Yi's heart moved slightly after piercing a ninja's sword through his heart. Demonic illusion. Thinking of this, he took a closer look, and sure enough, those 2 ninjas were just a pair of demonic illusion, and they looked like they were confused. And Uchiha Chika's eyes, showing the perfect 3 tomo, are constantly emitting the evil Yuhi light. Gong Yi took a deep breath, the smell of blood pouring into his nostrils. As expected of the strong man of the Uchiha clan, as expected of the captain who can lead the Uchiha clan to participate in the 3 battles. This Qinfang, in the Uchiha clan, is also a very strong existence. No, how is he compared to Uchiha Fugaku, who is known as the fierce side? Just when Gong Yi wanted to observe the battle of the Hyuga clansmen and focused on the side of Hyuga Shenming, there was a loud bang in the stronghold. 10 humanoid puppets appeared on the battlefield, and the sound of hitting the ground was extremely dull. Can imagine how heavy these 10 puppets are. As expected of the strongest genius of the Nara family, the shadow technique is amazing, but that's it. Nara Shikaku's pupils shrank and she slowly stepped back. 10 people from 10 people in Jinsong,